What is going on, everybody? Happy draft day. Today is always one of the best days of the year. A celebration, really. I mean, we are here, of course, to analyze and react to every single draft pick throughout the entire weekend. Round one here tonight. But it's a celebration of another great draft season. A huge thank you to you guys for helping make it another great draft season, whether you just showed up to the channel this year, first time viewer, all that good stuff, or this is your 6th or 7th year watching a draft stream here with me. My beautiful wife is going to be updating the graphics on the screen for us. Teddy is going to make an appearance tonight. For those that have been checking in on him on Twitter, he's going through some stuff, but I'm so excited for tonight, man. It's going to be a crazy NFL draft, in my opinion. We know who's going number one, and then we really don't know what the hell is going to happen after that, which is going to make for some really exciting reactions here tonight. I want to give a special thanks, again, to all of the viewers, whether you're new, whether you're, been around for a while. I know you have so many options for draft streams out there, and a lot of other great analysts that I love and respect, friends of mine that are live here tonight and throughout the weekend. You are choosing, though, to join me for the draft stream, and that does not go unnoticed. So thank you for tuning in here, whether it's tonight or all 3 days of the draft. And as well, a huge special thanks to all of my amazing supporters over on Patreon. It has been another great draft season with the exclusive draft content on Patreon. Posted the official final draft guide about an hour. Love a good deadline, but posted that about an hour before the show here today. 284 full player write-ups this year. Much bigger and better than last year, especially once we get to day 3 of the draft here this weekend. I mean, there's going to be some guys that come off the board that I have no idea who they are, but I feel very ready, very prepared, and This weekend is just a celebration of a great draft season, and for me, a lot of hard work that goes into this to be able to really provide you guys like thorough, in-depth, honest reactions and analysis to every single pick. That is what I value bringing to you guys, is really getting into the weeds on who these players are, how they fit schematically, whether I really genuinely like the pick, which you'll see the certified steel grade show up on screen for those, or if I just straight up hate it. If this is Quay Walker or all the picks that we've had great clips on over the years, you're gonna hear it from me. So I'm very much looking forward to this. Already seeing some super chats coming in from you guys. So let's start talking with the chat here. So from our first super chat.
Can you remind them that if we miss them to go to your Instagram and all?
Okay. And if I'm looking over listening, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to pick up what Anna is saying or not, but she is so good at being on top of things, so the stream can go smoothly. She is saying that if I do miss any super chats, which hopefully I don't. Hopefully I'm on top of all of it. But if I miss any super chats, I want to make sure I get those answered for you. So you can go over to my Instagram is where you want them, or TikTok maybe.
I don't know.
Can you do DMs on TikTok? Probably not.
I have no idea.
All right. Well, I do have a TikTok now if you want to check that out. Shameless plug there. But my Instagram is Marcus-Whitman, I think. We'll figure it out. We'll make sure we get your super chats answered starting now. Antonio with the very first super chat of the stream. With the 31st pick in the draft, the New England Patriots select one soap opera. Yeah, the Diana Rossini situation is wild. Mike Vrabel, I guess, is not going to be there on Saturday for the draft. Man, I don't really have any opinions on it, to be honest. It's not a good look, though, I'll say that. From Tall Relativity as well, who is a YouTube member. You turn that down. You're good. He says, first time catching a stream since becoming a member. Who's your favorite player for the 49ers to get? I would say one of the two wide receivers after they've cemented a 2-year deal with Trent Williams. I still think they could go offensive tackle, but I would say one of the two wide receivers, which I have my final top 50 big board here. I'm sorry, it's a little bit small. I don't know if the formatting could have been better on this, I guess, but those two wide receivers in that second tier for me, which are going to be Casey Concepcion and Denzel Boston. I think getting a long-term wide receiver option for them is going to be a really good play for them. If Akeem Mesidor were there, he would also be a great edge rush addition there. But I think those wide receivers would probably make the biggest impact for them if you're looking to take another push this year and beyond. From Unlucky Trev, who are some of my guys that were infamously overdrafted even by your grade? Interesting. That's a tough one to think about. So guys that I really liked that still got overdrafted. Man, that's a really tough question. I might have to think about that a little bit. There's some guys that are kind of on the forefront of my mind right now. There was someone last year who went in like the third round, and I was like celebrating how much I like that guy going in the third round, but I was like, still kind of early, but love the player. I'll try to think of someone for you. I'm sorry, I can't. Nothing's coming to me off the top of my head because typically when my guy gets drafted, it's still later than I like him. But that's the point of a my guy. $50 super chat from Crisp. Thank you. Year 7 here for the TFG draft. Let's go and bear down. You made me say it. You made me say bear down. You know I can't cheer for the Bears to have a good draft, but if they do have a good draft, I will tell you about it. My fear as a Packers fan is that you guys get Akeem Mesidor, edge rusher out of Miami. My dream is that you guys take Keldrick Falk, who's totally your type as like the oversized, can't rush the passer defensive end. They have spent years not really knowing what they're looking for on the defensive line, in my opinion. So that would be my dream, is the Bears end up with Keldrick Falk. We'll see. From Easton, best day of the year for us Jets fans. Love ya, TFG. Yep, another big day for the Jets. Another year, 2 first-round picks for the New York Jets. I hope it's different this time, man. I really do. I will say I was doing 7-round mock drafts for the Patreon, and we did a Jets draft that was like unreal. We ended up with like Arvell Reese. I think we got Mansour Delane at 16, which is probably his floor. We got Ty Simpson with their second pick in the second round, and then I think it was Casey Concepcion at the top of the second. Like all like somewhat realistic picks for them. If they could pull something like that off with the free agency they had, things could be different for the Jets moving forward. Keith says the franchising my guy comments have been off the charts. I love every minute of it. I love every combination that has been thrown. We bring in guests and they work in the memes. It's fantastic. From Micah, Dart over Shuck for life. Hey, I'm a big Tyler Shuck fan. It was a big debate coming out of this season. Who's the better rookie quarterback out of last year's draft? Really no need to have any strong opinions on it. I do believe that Tyler Shuck played a better, more consistent brand of quarterbacking than Jackson Dart did. I think Jackson Dart's highs were fantastic, and he looked great for a where he was drafted. And we'll see what happens there. It's neck and neck, and Cam Ward as well. It's gonna be fun to see what those QBs next year, and maybe even Shador next year getting starts. From Frustrated Liberal, hope the Dolphins do as well as you mentioned on Twitter. Bane incoming. Yep, that was a reference to my 7th round mock for the Dolphins that we did. That has already escaped me. Forgive me. We did. We did 8 divisional 7-round mock drafts over there on Patreon. So it was a lot of players, a lot of teams. That was one of the earlier ones we did. But I do remember coming out of that draft with the Dolphins, who have like 11 picks, and I was like, man, this could really be the start of something special for Miami. I think Caleb Downs was there at 11, which, again, that's probably a floor situation for the safety out of Ohio State. You know, we've seen safeties fall in these drafts. It's a position. Here, you're probably looking for this, babe. It showed up on my screen. There you go. From Mr. Jack Matt, what would you think of the Bears taking Zion Young? Yeah, I'm a big fan of Zion Young's game. He would absolutely be their type. If Mesidor's not there, I would say the other two guys that I, as a Packers fan, don't want the Bears to take would be Zion Young or Christian Miller. Those guys I have very close on the big board. I've got, let's see, Christian Miller 24 and Zion Young 27. There's a couple of off-field instances with Zion Young, so it's just going to come down to like how these teams have sorted through that. He left Michigan State after it was an aggravated assault charge that he pled guilty to. Left Michigan State, became a captain at Missouri. Everybody says the guy is like matured and is awesome. But he was pulled over for suspicion of DUI in December after the season ended. So there's a lot of stuff going on with him. But I think he's a really talented, like, A-plus NFL run defender someday and can give you enough as a pass rusher. I compare him to Carl Granderson, which is a Dennis Allen guy from New Orleans. So the Bears would make a lot of sense for Zion Young. From Albino Beats, been watching since the Madden days. Love the content. Mickey, don't do something stupid. Who dat? Hey, after last year, maybe Mickey deserves some benefit of the doubt. Really good offseason last year. They're starting to do things the right way again in New Orleans. Yeah, shout out to the Madden days, man. I have an itch to do a Madden rebuild, man. I hope I can find the time to do that sometime soon. From Matthew, we need a Sonny Weaver Jr. draft analysis from me. That'd be another fun video to do if I ever find some free time. Just do a draft grade of the Browns draft. What a ride that is in that movie. From Runs with Feathers, happy draft. How do we get J-Rod to the Panthers? Really don't think it'll happen at 19, but he's gone before our next pick for sure. Yeah, I think a trade down from 19 into the mid-20s is reasonable. I've been in situations where the boards falls a certain way for the Panthers where I say, screw it, let's just take him at 19. I mean, I know the NFL isn't quite as high on Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker out of Texas Tech. I have him 22nd on my big board there, and 100% would be in play for me at 19. And he's Luke Kuechly's favorite player in this draft, so that goes a long way. And I think Luke Kuechly, is he still working for the Panthers? So maybe that word goes a little bit further than just a Twitter clip. From Mapex, the draft is cool and all, but where are the dogs? Well, here's Teddy. Oh, here, buddy. We got Teddy. He's got his TFG bandana. And you're right. The draft is cool and all, but the dogs are the best. So Teddy's happy to be here. He had a long day at the vet. He's going through some things, but we are so happy to have Teddy here. And maybe we'll get the Teddy cam going at some point here. My second webcam was kind of crapping out when I plugged it in, and we kind of need that for the Teddy cam. So that kind of got cut short of the pre-draft production here. But yeah, let's let Teddy hang out here for a little bit. Just trying to find the right arm angle here where he's on screen. That I think we had pretty good there. I'll just hold him a little higher there.
So yes, DM on TikTok.
Okay, let's do DMs for any missed super chats on TikTok, it's just that franchise guy, right?
Yep, or Marcus Whitman.
So we're going to do TikTok DMs, not Instagram. I haven't looked at my Instagram years. It's been years. So yeah, let's pair that with a little shameless promotion of the TikTok there. While we're promoting things, I do want to shout out my Discord as well. I've been really trying to make an effort to be more involved there in the Discord. We have such an amazing community. We already have 2,000 of you guys here, where the draft is like just starting. So if you would like to be a even bigger part of the community, be a part of the Discord, there's your link right there. But from Happy Duck, 4th year. Oh, and speaking of Duck, Ducky will make an appearance at some point, whether that's tonight or tomorrow or Saturday. We'll find out. Ducky's good. He's just a little crazy boy. So we wanted to get the show off without any extra distractions. So we will definitely get Ducky in here as well. Teddy is gonna have to carry for now, right, bud? He's like, dude, I was falling asleep. Can you stop talking to me? Yes. Anna says no spoilers on picks. Hey, they'll listen to you. Don't mess with Anna. Yeah, no spoilers, guys. Seriously. I will yell at you. The mods in the chat will yell at you. Anna will yell at you. Teddy will yell at you. And you'll probably end up either muted or put on timeout in the chat. So do not spoil picks. We're going to be a little bit behind. I mean, I'm watching the draft like literally on my phone through internet TV. So by the time it gets to you guys, it's probably going to be about 30 seconds delayed, maybe 15. So just do with that if do with that what you will. If you need to rewind your stream a little bit, stay off of Twitter, all that, so be it. But I'm gonna set Teddy down because it's kind of hot in here. I feel like he's getting warm, but we'll get Teddy back in here. Let's see if we can get all caught up on super chats before the first pick comes in. That's probably not saying much. I mean, they're just getting started. It's probably going to be about 10 more minutes till we get the Raiders pick here. But from Happy Duck, 4th year straight catching the stream. 4 years straight is awesome. Hell yeah. Much love from Alaska. Go Giants. You are a Giants fan from Alaska. That's like the opposite end of the freaking globe. That's a lot of distance to cheer for a Giants team that hasn't done a whole lot of winning the last 10 years. So shout out to you for staying loyal. From Mark, watching from the hospital, recovering from B-cell all. Thank you for the distraction. What should the Lions do at 17? Need an offensive tackle. Well, recover, my friend. I hope everything goes well for you. Lions definitely, I mean, I think I've taken an offensive tackle for them in every single mock draft. I would love to get them an edge rusher as well, but the thing is, like, it's just a draft that happens to have like 6 offensive tackles that are top 25. There's 6 offensive tackles in my top 25, and they all pretty much go in the 10 to 20 range. So it just makes way too much sense for the Lions to grab one of those guys. And it's really kind of like whoever they like. And I like all those dudes, whether it's Proctor, Ihanichor, Blake Miller, Monroe Freeling. Maui Noah is the one guy that's like almost certainly going to be gone. And then Fano as well. So yeah, I think Lions go offensive tackle at 17. Maybe then you get a little aggressive to try and come up and get an edge in the middle of the second round would be maybe my draft strategy for them. We got a $50 super chat from Falcon. Thank you so much. Hopefully the sound bites are working. You get a little John Cena for Falcon in the chat. $50 super chat. Thank you. He says, happy draft day. Prayers up for Teddy. Thank you, Marcus and admin B. Lisa, for doing this. Best draft stream and not even close. Go Chiefs. Thank you so much, my friend. Really appreciate it. From Mr. Jack Matt says, meant to ask, how's the bro doing? Bear down. Yes. We've got Adam tuning into the draft, as always. He had bowling tonight, and according to my mother-in-law, Adam was like, we got to go. We got to get home. The draft is on. and it was like 4:30. But Adam wouldn't miss this for the world. We got a little clip here from Adam.
I love you, brother. Bear down.
Love you, bro. We'll get Adam back up there when the Bears pick, which is going to be late. I mean, we're so used to the Bears picking like 10 to 15. They're going to wait till 25 this year unless they trade up. But from Peter, staying up late here in the UK for the draft. Shout out to all of our international viewers and you, Peter. Always blows my mind how many international viewers we have, how many passionate draft fans there are abroad. It's incredible. But would like to see my Commanders trade back a little because some major holes that need filling. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about a lot of these teams in the top 10 wanting to trade down. And I just don't know how many people are going to want to trade up in this draft. But I do think the board typically falls pretty well for the Commanders, whether it's wide receiver or Ruben Bain or Sonny Styles or Downs. Like, there's a lot of options that would very much make sense on their team. So when that's the case, yeah, trading down maybe 5 or 6 spots would be good for them. From Torrey Horton fan back in the chat, Jermon McCoy for Seattle. Plus, we all love Teddy. He carries every draft stream. Yes, he does. I mean, that's kind of an insult to me. So, like, I'll take it though. If it's giving Teddy his credit, I'll wear that. I'll wear that. Thank you, Torrey Horton fan. And yeah, Jermon McCoy, I had to lower him, man. On the big board, he was inside my top 10, cornerback out of Tennessee, didn't play last year because of an ACL injury, and we can get some draft highlights going, although people are going to think that the Raiders just took Jermon McCoy with the I got to get the big board off the screen. Hold on, production. There we go. But, yeah, he didn't play this year. These are highlights from 2024 and had the ACL injury. Probably could have come back at the end of the year, but he was like, nah, the tape is good enough. I'll come out like fully ready to go. And then has his pro day, runs 4.39, 4.40, looks great moving out in space, but the doctors get a look at him and needs a cleanup on his knee, and it's probably going to knock him out for this upcoming season. And that's just devastating to take a guy that now will have not played football for 2 years, even though he might be a top 5 player in this draft. So the question is, like, if they clean up the knee, is he then fully good to go? The thing about that is he's only 20 years old. He turns 21 in like after the draft, I think. So you're kind of looking at it as an investment for next year at a chance at a Christian Gonzalez type of player. So I think that's one of the more fascinating storylines that we might see play out tonight. I mean, we obviously are going to see some aspect of it, but will Jermon McCoy get drafted tonight, or does he go into the second round? It's kind of an interesting team building dilemma. But for me, I had to drop him down into the late first round group. He's 29th on my big board. So I think when you're talking about like Seattle, maybe Kansas City with that 29th pick, which is exactly the big board spot there, just how do you justify that, and how do you weight the injury stuff there? So we'll see what happens with Jermon McCoy, but I think Seattle would be. I think if Seattle took Jermon McCoy, I think everyone would be like, dang it, man, like, aren't they good enough? Like, that's going to be so annoying when Jermon McCoy's playing for the Seahawks. But just a $5 super chat from David Mendez. Thank you. No comment on it, but thank you. Eagle Deeds, $10 super chat. What is the best place for the Eagles to move up? Well, we mentioned the Panthers at 19. Maybe could be in play. The Bucs, I think, might consider dancing around this draft a little bit. I would say those two teams would probably be your biggest spots you're looking at. Which, by the way, is... Have they announced Fernando Mendoza yet? It's so anticlimactic.
It is in.
Yeah, there's not even anything to react to. Like, if you want to just type it and put it up there,
Well,
you
I
can.
already have. I'm just waiting.
You can update it if you want. I mean, this is like we know what's
I'll wait.
All
Just
right.
in case there's
any surprises. Yeah, not expecting any surprises, but we're gonna get some time to talk about Fernando Mendoza. We haven't really talked a lot about Mendoza since I made the video on him back in early January, because it's just been such a lock that they're going to take him. But we'll get into it. But see if we can catch up. I don't think we're going to catch up on Super Chats because you guys are that great. You guys are that amazing. Spence says, any chance Vrabel gets fired over this? I don't think so. It's kind of out of my pay grade, to be honest. Like, I guess I would say I would be surprised, but it's not impossible. Having an affair with a high-ranking NFL reporter that has an MVP vote, like, crazy stuff. All right, you guys, it's about to be time to talk about Fernando Mendoza. Assuming there's no surprises here. Roger Goodell is going to make this pick here. But there it is. They made it happen. What did they let the clock run? Like 5 minutes? Yeah. They got some free branding. So just maybe see if any team wants to give them a call and offer all 3 of their next drafts for Fernando Mendoza. Even if they did, I don't know if the Raiders would accept it at this point. But here's what I'm going to say about this pick. It's not a love it. It's not a certified steal. I try to grade on a pretty harsh curve so that when there are picks that I genuinely love or think are certified steals, are like some of the just absolute most incredible picks that any team made, I want that to be reflected. I hate when you look at draft grades and it's just A's across the board. It's like, what do I do with that? Like, sure, you want to screenshot this and be like, oh, you didn't love Fernando Mendoza as a pick. Go for it, I guess. But I'm just trying to scale the analysis here. So this is a like it pick for me on Mendoza. I think they did what they were probably expected to do and should have done here in a quarterback draft that doesn't have a whole lot of promise beyond Mendoza. There's a couple other guys that I like. I did find it interesting that it was just not really discussed at all. That, yep, he's going number 1. Of course they're not trading out of this. Of course they're not talking about the fact that this team needs a lot of work, that they have a new coach coming in, that they have no wide receivers. Yeah, we'll just take Fernando Mendoza. He's a good enough quarterback that he'll figure it out. I think there is a lot of risk attached to this pick. I think Fernando Mendoza is a very good quarterback prospect, the type of guy that in an average draft does go in the top half of the first round. I see him very similar to how I viewed Bo Nix, Mac Jones, that level of quarterback where you're going to want to give him, especially an offensive line that he had at Indiana. He was able to, these are kind of the main kind of, I hate to call it a concern, but I guess question mark on Mendoza is the structure at Indiana was really easy, man. He played from a clean platform. Almost all of his throws are to the outside, whether it's back shoulders or go balls. They actually didn't ask him to attack the middle of the field a lot. So I have some questions on like, how's it going to translate to a Raiders team that they haven't done a lot of winning lately, right? And the offensive line was a disaster last year. I think it'll be better this year. But the receiver situation, yes, you have Brock Bowers, but that's about it right now. We'll see what they do in this draft. But I don't want to just be all negative about this, but it's not the most like ideal number 1 pick is what I'm saying. He's not a Caleb Williams type of prospect. He's not what Drake May was as a prospect, for example, but he has an excellent arm. He is an excellent competitor. He has that, he's wired the right way in the sense of like, you believe that this is going to be a first one in, last one out type of guy. He's going to put that also important time into the film room. And then he will answer some of those questions about attacking the middle of the field more often, and all of that stuff. So it's a like it pick. Congrats to Raiders fans. You got your quarterback. It's now the conversation is going to turn to how he looks in camp and how he's doing at beating out Kirk Cousins, who they did sign. I would put Kirk Cousins starts this season. I would put the over-under at half a start. We'll see if I kind of like it as a signing, because it's like you don't want to rush these quarterbacks if they're not ready. And even sometimes the smart, kind of experienced pocket passing QBs still need some time. You don't want to just hand the guy the job. So go say, hey, come in, beat Kirk Cousins out. If you beat Kirk, that's like a great measuring stick for you look good and you're ready to play. So we'll see if we get like a month of Kirk Cousins or if we don't see Kirk Cousins at all. And that's the other thing about Mendoza is, knock on wood, but he's built like a tank. He's like 6'5", 235 pounds. He's tough. I anticipate he's a guy that's not going to miss a lot of games in the NFL. Again, knock on wood, but now the draft starts. Now the draft really starts, where I have no idea if the Jets are going to take Arvell Reese or David Bailey. And I'm going to be honest, if they take David Bailey, I'm going to be pretty harsh here. So we'll see. I think they're getting ready to announce it pretty soon here.
You want to take down your grade?
Yes. Okay, Rodgers coming out.
David Bailey.
They took David Bailey. Oh boy. Is it shot o'clock already? Shot 30. It's time to take a shot at the New York Jets. I hate it. Whoops. Don't screenshot that. It's always funny when the grade comes up when the graphic hasn't quite flipped over yet. All right. Yeah, this is a huge reach for me, you guys. I never really understood why we got to this idea that David Bailey is this like consensus top 5 player in the draft. To me, David Bailey, if I pull up the big board, he's kind of your standard mid-range first-round pick. I think back to like Leonard Floyd. I think of where like James Pierce Jr. was before all the off-field stuff. And Pierce had a really good rookie season, but nothing like, oh my God, unbelievable either. And I liked Pierce because he got drafted in the 20s, not number 2 overall. For me on David Bailey, I see a guy that has the electric get-off. That's why people love the guy, right? Obviously the Jets are all about David Bailey right now. But for me, for the most part, I know the spin move just played on screen there, but I went through 6 David Bailey games. Almost all of his wins come rushing straight up field against tackles that don't have the requisite NFL kick slide technique to get the amount of depth that they need to protect the arc against David Bailey. So much of his production comes just sprinting upfield. Tackles can't get a hand on him. And then that also pairs with quarterbacks that aren't stepping up. And NFL quarterbacks are going to be much better at stepping up and giving better tackles a chance to seal off that that edge rush there. So he does have the spin move. The spin move is beautiful. When you go through the tape 5 times or 5 games through, it's like, man, when you use the inside counters, it's a thing of beauty, but he doesn't have a great idea of how to set those moves up, when to go to it. He just kind of tries the inside counter, and it can work. So there's room to develop that 1-2 punch of threaten the speed, get the inside spin move, and that can be a guy that can be a double-digit sack player someday, and maybe you look back on it and you're like, it wasn't the worst pick in the world. Like, this guy gets after the quarterback. But that's still an if that can happen. I don't think his power is anything special. He has enough power, but it's not special power. And the other thing, too, is for a speed rushing-based player, he does not bend. He has very stiff ankles. So if he's trying to threaten that arc and corner around the tackle, he can't really do it, especially against good tackles. So there's just concerns that he's going to be the type of guy that's going to be worth the number 2 pick in the draft, where I think Arvell Reese has a just significantly higher upside. I think Ruben Bain, despite questions about his driving record, we're probably going to look back on Ruben Bain being a much better football player. Now, teams are going to have some conversations about off-field with Ruben Bain. But even David Bailey has had like off-field stuff with anger issues. I mean, he curb stomped a player at Stanford after a play, and got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for that. And he tried to choke out a photographer on the sideline after a tough loss this year. So like, it's not like David Bailey is sticky clean off the field either. So I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff that I don't get about David Bailey as this type of prospect. And he's not a particularly good run defender either. He has a very skinny lower half and will get driven off of the ball. So I just hate it, man. I don't think this was the right pick for the Jets. I've been so critical of Aaron Glenn at times throughout his coaching tenure. He is obviously a defensive-minded coach. He just made this pick. Like, when you are a defensive head coach and you're picking a defensive player number 2, like, that's effectively the head coach making that pick. I'm not really putting this one on the GM. Although a good GM is going to tell him no, like, that guy's not worth taking number 2. So I can't say it's all Aaron Glenn's fault, but I'm just not a fan, man. I think he can. My comparison is Bruce Irvin, who was drafted 15th in his draft, had seasons where he had between 8 and 10 sacks. He had splash plays when he went up against backup tackles or tackles that didn't have that speed or the range to handle speed. He could go off in certain matchups, but I think there's going to be a lot of games where David Bailey just is kind of nowhere to be found, because I'll be honest, when he went against good tackles, which wasn't very often in his senior year tape, he was kind of nowhere to be found. So I hate it. It's going to be probably one of my least favorite picks of the night. Okay, let's catch up on some Super Chats before the next pick comes in. So, computer's running slow here. Can you take your phone off of... Hopefully we're all good here. I'm having a trouble scrolling through the chat here. Bear with me for a second, guys. I want to be able to read these super chats, but my chat's not loading here. And my PC is humming right now, working hard. It's cool. It's cooling down now. All right. Here we go. The pick is in. All right, we'll get a chance to catch up on super chats here when we get some downtime. Jeremiah Love. Let me get the hated off the screen. Although it's not my favorite pick. Yeah, we didn't know what the Cardinals were going to do. Jeremiah Love is the best football player in this draft. I haven't found a single person that disagrees with that. Problem is, he's a running back, right? And while the value of running backs has climbed, and I think it's a lot less crazy to take a running back with the 3rd pick in the draft now than it might have been like 4 years ago, in like the peak of like the running backs don't matter era of football analysis. It's better now in the age of too high defenses and the return of the run game. My issue with this is still the idea that I think the running back should still be, in many ways, maybe not the cherry on top, but he should be the toppings to your sundae. You want everything else ready to go before you put the running back on top of this. And the Cardinals have one of the worst offensive lines in the league. You have a new regime coming in. Jeremiah Love's going to have a lot of crowded running lanes to go through. We saw this with Ashton Ginty last year, right? Everybody freaking loved Ashton Ginty and said he's the best player in the draft. The offensive line sucked, and nobody talked about Ashton Ginty, and I fear that this is going to be a similar situation here. For me, this pick is fine. You took the best player in the draft with the third pick, and he's hopefully eventually going to be really good. And you now have Trey McBride, you have Jeremiah Love, you have hopefully Marvin Harrison Jr. coming back, and Michael Wilson, who broke out last year. Like, you're good on playmakers, man. But that's the other thing. I thought they were perfectly fine at running back, man. And you know who's sitting there, like, scratching their head even more than me right now? James Conner, Tyler Algier, and even Trey Benson. Because they're like, man, I thought we had a really nice three-headed approach, and we were about to be just fine at running back. And now, what is this all about? I mean, it's one of the most congested, awkward running back rooms in the league. And if I'm Tyler Algier right now, I'm firing my agent because he already got less than expected. He signed a 2-year, $11 million deal to get. I mean, is Tyler Algier even going to touch the ball? I genuinely do not know. Like, he should demand a trade immediately, and I would trade for Tyler Algier on that contract. I just don't really like the process. But look, I can't say a bad word about the player. I mean, Jeremiah Love is sick. He is some blend of like Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson, I guess. He's a guy that we've all kind of had a hard time finding the perfect pro comp for. I see a lot of Christian McCaffrey with just how elusive he is as a runner. I mean, that's his selling point, is the combination of the vision and the shiftiness, which is absolutely what has made Christian McCaffrey one of the best running backs in the league. Now, obviously, Christian McCaffrey has been like a 1,000-yard receiver at points in his career. I do think Jeremiah Love brings a lot in the receiving game, and that is added reason that you can justify taking him at number 3. But yeah, they don't have linemen at all. They don't have a quarterback. They have 3 running backs. It's not the pick I would have made. It's not. I understand how they reached to the conclusion to just, if they didn't fall in love with any of these players and the phones weren't ringing and they couldn't trade down, they're like, let's just not overcomplicate it. Let's just get Jeremiah Love and let's try to handle the rest of this draft the best we can. I think that's better than taking David Bailey at number 2. But I think this pick is fine. Okay. So where were we on the Super Chats? Because you guys have been incredible. We got a lot to catch up on. Just going to have a sip of my Coke Zero here just to clear my throat. So I think this is where we were from S.J. Smith. I'm glad the Packers got Micah, so I don't have to see Goot burn another first-round pick on an Eric Stokes. He usually cooks in rounds 2 through 4. Go, Pack, go. Dude, I slept like a freaking baby last night. This is the best I've ever slept before an NFL draft. I just always have so much fear that the Packers are going to screw something up on the first night, and they have historically done that pretty much every year. Last year was great, and don't get me started on how good I think Matthew Golden's going to be this year, but it's a relief, man. Like, people have taken shots at me like, haha, you don't get a first-round pick this year. I'm like, I don't care. We have Micah Parsons. Like, you want me to take that back? Absolutely not. Like, absolutely not. Really hope he makes full recovery from the injury. That sucks, obviously. But, yeah, man. From Mason, watched this channel since 2019. Shout out to you, Mason. That makes you an absolute OG. How about a little John Cena for 2019? That's 7 years. 7 years, man. That's loyalty. Appreciate you. We do have a pick coming in here. So we'll keep catching up on Super Chats. We're a little behind, but they're getting things going with announcing picks, which I like. Ooh, okay. Carnell Tate is selected for the Tennessee Titans. And it always kind of felt like this was possible throughout the draft process. Carnell Tate has just kind of hovered in this 4 to 12 range, and it's just like he's one of the highest floor, kind of easy players to evaluate in this draft. He gives you that typical like prototype X wide receiver. I'm gonna say that I like this pick. I think it's a very solid choice for the Titans, but when you looked at that Titans team and wanting to give Cam Ward, the best chance to succeed this year, they have a bunch of like number 3s to throw the ball to. You have Calvin Ridley, who at this point is not a number 1. We don't even know if he's going to stay healthy or can be a number 2, or if he sticks around on this team. I know they restructured his deal, but maybe this changes things. But talk about sleeping like a baby, like we were talking about with the Packers getting Micah Parsons as their first round pick. I think you kind of sleep like a baby if you take Carnell Tate. Like he's a good route runner with size. He moves. He's really fluid for a guy that's like 6'3". My pro comp is T. Higgins, who had the same thing, where he's a good route runner and separator for being as lengthy as he is. And the thing with Carnell Tate that I like is I think he has generational ball skills. He's not a generational wide receiver because he's not a super athlete. He's a little bit thinner for like an X wide receiver. But the dude had, I have the numbers on it. He had generational ball skills with no drops in his final season and contested catch win rate. He went 12 for 14 in his last year here, 86% contested catch win rate. And on his career, he had 69% contested catch win rate. I can't stress enough how incredible that is, especially for a guy that his contested catch wins are a lot of times jump ball wins. A lot of those higher, when you see guys that do have higher contested catch win rates, a lot of times it's like what Michael Wilson had this year, or Puka Nacua, where they're catching it over the middle of the field, where it's congested and you're kind of getting hit after the catch, but there's contact around you, but you had clean access to the football, and then there was contact. You're still going to register a contested catch in those situations. When it's a true jump ball 50-50 situation, those are typically more 40-60 situations in a bad way. Like, you're not expected to win those 50-50% of the time. And Carnell Tate does it like 65% of the time. Like, he has the Justin Jefferson thing where the ball's in the air and he just finds a way to get it. So he's, like I said, he's got good, not great size. He's a little bit thinner. He's not a crazy athlete. Run after catch is like very limited for him. So there's some things that he doesn't quite check. But I think you just took T. Higgins with the 4th pick in the draft, and I like that for Tennessee. You could have swung bigger, I think, for like Arvell Reese, and some of these other guys. But with what wide receivers are getting paid, I think this is perfectly reasonable. And cool. I'm very excited for Cam Ward. You guys know I loved Cam Ward last year. I hope the Titans can find a right guard and start cooking with gas this year. So it's a nice, like, like-it pick. No, like, major negative notes, but it's also not like this outrageous value or anything. Carnell Tate was a little bit lower on the board for me. He was at 14. So from, that's how you end up with kind of a like-it grade. It's just a little bit earlier than I had him slotted, but cool. All right. Super chats, my friends. So from Lil Caesar, happy draft day. Congrats on the wedding / pending baby. The wedding feels like that was quite a long time. We're coming up. This is 5 years this December. So thank you. 5 years ago, but thank you. But yeah, pending baby, early July, late June. So we're very excited. Have a baby girl in the family, in the house. Love the content, been a viewer since 2018. Pray for the Niners and that John Lynch doesn't pull a John Lynch. Teddy Cam when? We'll get Teddy up here. Come here, bud. Oh, the people are asking for you. Yeah, my webcam was bugging out. We might have to wait till tomorrow for the actual Teddy cam, but we'll make sure we get Teddy on the cam for sure. Ugh. All right. Lewis says, been here since pre-COVID, so that's also a long time ago. Don't agree with all your takes, but you put out high-quality NFL content consistently, more than just about anybody else. Glad I finally caught a draft. Go Cowboys. Thank you, Lewis. Appreciate you. And that's the point, man. You're not supposed to agree with all my takes. Just know that everything I say, I believe in. And I'm not going to be right about everything, and that's fine. But it's people like you that keep coming back and realize that that's the nature of the business, and it leads to good conversation. So thank you, Lewis. Echo, my man, thank you. $50 super chat. That is absolutely... I guess we're just gonna keep coming back to. I mean, we got a Sports Center. We give a Sports Center for Echo. $50 super chat. Thank you. Well, we definitely got to get the do the draft chime.
I hear it all straight.
I know, but I don't know how we haven't put that in as a soundbite yet. I don't know that we've used soundbites necessarily so much in the past. But Echo says, I was making a Zach Wilson video the other day and was wondering where he'd go if he was coming out this year. I know it's hard to not see how he developed or didn't in the NFL, but where would you have had him this year? Yeah, he would have been the number one pick for me, and I'll talk about bad takes and being wrong and all that, but dude, there's a lot of convenient hindsight with how people talk about Zach Wilson. I mean, he was a very highly perceived quarterback prospect. I think he was a learning lesson for myself and a lot of people in that he played in the COVID season when there was no fans. He played at BYU against nobody. He had all day to throw. His tape was unbelievable. Aaron Rodgers-esque tape. But the second he had to speed things up and there was crowd noise, it went off the rails for him. And the consistency just was not there. But the grade I had on Zach Wilson, which I know NFL teams felt maybe not quite as high as I did, but around that ballpark, Zach Wilson would have easily been the number one pick over Fernando Mendoza, in my opinion, this year. There's probably, there probably would have been, because they're so different, they're such different prospects. But there probably would have been a couple teams that would have preferred Mendoza that didn't believe in Zach Wilson. But I would say 2/3 out of teams would have taken Zach Wilson, and those would have been 1-2 in this draft for sure. And the Jets maybe would have ended up with Zach Wilson again. So we got the Giants coming up. The Giants could go in so many different directions here.
They're doing a little salute to the military, and there was a super chat that you missed from somebody in the Army who said he doesn't have great internet, so he's not able to watch, but he loves the content.
Well, shout out for that super chat, and a huge thank you to all of our service men and women. You guys are the best. Thank you. We love you. Let's see who the Giants draft here. Could be... Oh, my goodness. It's on. Arvell Reese. That is not expected. This is why we said the draft could go in any direction. Wow. So this is kind of in line with my draft Ruben Bain and trade Brian Burns take. Wow, this is a lot to... Can you just do... Well, it's fine. I know they announced him as a linebacker, but he's like an edge linebacker if you could just do /ED. Yeah, I'm curious, where he plays. They now have 4 edge rushers in that room. What's crazy about this is that there were a lot of Abdul Carter comparisons for Arvell Reese. I talked about how Arvell Reese reminds me of what Abdul Carter was the year before he made the switch to edge. Whoa. Okay, so I need to process this and talk about it before I put the grade up. There will be a domino effect here. Unless the plan is to just play him at linebacker, if that's their take on this. I would disagree. I don't view Arvell Reese as a linebacker. I would have taken Sonny Styles if you wanted to play Reese as a linebacker. For me, they must have said Arvell Reese is the best player in the draft, and we're just going to take him. That's how a lot of teams operate, is just we got to draft best player available. And for a team that went through having 2 first-round picks and whiffed on Kayvon Thibodeau and Evan Neal, if they think this is the best player in the draft, they don't want to screw this up. They want to get a good player here. But you now have Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Arvell Reese, and Kayvon Thibodeau. So I would say one of those players is certainly going to get traded. Probably Kayvon Thibodeau. But I have talked about also Brian Burns is probably the biggest defensive player due for regression in this upcoming season, and Giants fans don't want to hear it. He was dead last in pass rush win rate last year. His pressure rate was low. He converts some sacks because of his speed, and like when you've got Dexter Lawrence and Abdul Carter flushing the quarterback out of the pocket, running for their life, Brian Burns is good at cleaning a lot of that stuff up. I tweeted out the clip on Brian Burns is like, it's the most laughable 15 sack season you'll ever see, where like he got 13 of those sacks without beating a lineman once. So I do wonder if the Giants went and watched that tape and they're like, we can't expect that again from Brian Burns. Maybe they do think about trading Brian Burns, but I don't want to just focus on just that take of mine and tick off Giants fans, because I know Giants fans don't like that take of mine. But something's going to have to be moved around if you're playing him at edge. Again, if you're playing him at linebacker, I really don't like this. Now, do I think Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be on this team forever? Do I believe in what Brian Burns is going to regress to? And do I believe in just having one of the most unstoppable, like having 2 Micah Parsons someday, basically, if this all works with Arvell Reese and Abdul Carter and building around that? I can get pretty excited about that. So I understand it's a little clunky right now, but I like it. I like the honesty, man. I like the honesty that maybe Brian Burns isn't who our fans think he is, that Kayvon Thibodeau's not long for this team. And if this is the best player in the draft, let's take him anyway. And I don't necessarily disagree with that assessment, by the way, because my number 1 player in the draft is Ruben Bain, but there's stuff, right? There's stuff that only NFL teams know about the behind the scenes with him, with the driving incident, or incidents, plural. Again, it's a muddy situation. If you can't say Ruben Bain is the best player in the draft because of that, I don't disagree that Arvell Reese is. He's my number 2 player in the draft. I think he's got a ton of natural power. The reason I liked him better than Bailey is just because of the power profile is there. He played more off ball for Ohio State, and maybe that is part of how they justified this, is maybe they will play him as a linebacker in year 1 while they have all these edge rushers here, but maybe you rotate him as an edge rusher, and then by year 2, you're saying Brian Burns is out, we'll save a bunch of money there, Thibodeau's out, and then our edge rush duo will be Arvell Reese and Abdul Carter, and we have a phenomenal mentor there. Honestly, mentors, plural, with Brian Burns and Abdul Carter, who did this himself 2 years ago, went from a linebacker to play on the edge. So I'm excited. It's more of a long play. I just got to take this down. Sorry. It's more of a long play, but holy crap, we got stuff going down. The Chiefs traded up for Mansour Delane. Whoa. We said it would be unpredictable, and by the way, Chiefs fans, I'm ringing the bell at you. I'm freaking... We had at it, Chiefs fans. We had at it, Chiefs fans, for the last 2 months. We're not going to take a corner. We draft corners so well at the end of the draft. Shut up. Love you. I love you, Chiefs fans. I'm gonna say I love this. So... You guys, yes, the Chiefs develop corners quite well, but they don't have anybody that you trust right now, and they just traded away, by the way, the corner that they drafted in the first round 4 years ago that they built their whole secondary around, Trent McDuffie. They traded him away. They're missing that piece. So yes, You develop corners, great. That's going to help you fill out CB2, CB3, CB depth, which are all needs for you right now. But you feel a hell of a lot better when you take, for me, the number 6 player in this draft, trading up, and we'll see what they did to get this. That can always change the grades, and that's why I do it overnight.
So they traded their first round pick from 6 to 9 with the Browns.
Yep.
And then the Browns got a 3rd round pick and a 5th round pick.
A 3rd and a 5th round pick. I love it.
I don't know if they can hear me.
Yeah, I don't know if they can hear you either, but I can hear you. 3rd and a 5th round pick. Absolutely, man. If you think he's going to go, which with the Saints and maybe even the Commanders, like, sure, go do it. It's not like to not even give up a 2nd round to go do that, totally fine with it. Again, this is your new Trent McDuffie. He can play inside and out. He's on the cheap. You got pick 29 now from Trent McDuffie to go get something else. This is a hell of a cornerback, man. And I think he could be even better than Trent McDuffie, who's a top 10 corner in the NFL. I think Mansour Delane could be a better outside corner than Trent McDuffie ever was. I don't know that he'll be quite as good in the slot, but I think he's even more of their type than the Chiefs tend to prefer. He's great press man. You can go off zone with him. The hip transitions, the long speed, the ball skills to turn and find the ball. He plays the run well. He's just one of those guys that you watch and it's like, what am I supposed to put for him in the weaknesses category? And for me on Mansour Delane, in with the weaknesses, it's a pretty short list. It's his length is below average and his size is a little bit lower. So if you're talking about like press jams, he doesn't have the best stabs in his press jam coverage. However, he's so good with his feet and mirroring footwork off the line that you don't have to play press jam. You can play press bail, and he's so elite as a sticky press bail player that removes the weakness from really hurting his game, if that makes sense. Because there's 2 ways to press. You can see it on the screen right now. He's playing press bail, where he's being patient. He's mirroring the footwork right there. Perfect example. If you got the foot speed and the hip turns and the reactionary quickness to just match it, you don't need to jam them off the line. In fact, it's a more consistent way to play press coverage. So it neutralizes that. Here's the other weaknesses on him. Was much more consistent in his 2024 tape at Virginia Tech. So he comes with a little bit of the like 1-year wonder, 1-year breakout tag for a volatile cornerback position. So relevant, but not really a criticism on anything he did this year. And then it shows up again. Size profile is below average, just below 6 feet tall, 185 pounds, around 30.5-inch arms. Yeah, the dude's phenomenal. So I love that as a pick for the Chiefs. And I told you, Chiefs fans, that they would totally take a corner in the top 10. So hate to say I told you so, but I kind of don't hate to say I told you so. It's kind of what makes this thing so fun. All right, let's try to get through some super chats here. So Red Pear. Okay, we gotta let Teddy out, and I need to fill up my water. So one quick second, just 15-second hiatus. All right. And we have a pick here. So we'll get to Sonny Styles going to the Commanders. They're pacing things pretty fast here. Exciting pick for the Commanders. We will certainly talk about it. And I think people are anticipating me hating on that pick, but it's not going to be the case. I mean, I think once you get 7, 8, 9, it's much more reasonable to take a guy like Sonny Styles. It was the whole conversation about me talking down on Sonny Styles was taking him at 3 to the Cardinals, or 2 to the Jets, or 4 to the Titans. The expectations just change. Some of the better players in the draft come off the board, becomes more reasonable. The pay slot drops like more than you'd think. So we'll put a final grade up there in just a second once Anna comes back to update the graphic for us. But in the meantime, I do want to answer some of these super chats here. From Red Pear, what do you think the Jags should do this draft? So they don't pick till the second round, but I think the Jags have filled out their team really nicely where they can go true best player available kind of for the first couple rounds, and then kind of look at your roster and see where guys are going to slot in. When I've done their mock drafts, I've kind of trended towards linebacker or maybe Jadarian Price if he's there at the end of the second round. But I think there's a good sweet spot at linebacker or maybe interior offensive lineman for the Jags. Those are some of the positions I would target for them. Canadian That Games says, does Ty Simpson get drafted in the first round, best fit that isn't the Rams, and worst that isn't the Jets or Browns? So you didn't say Cardinals. Cardinals are the best fit, in my opinion, for Ty Simpson. I think it's about 50-50 if he gets drafted first round. I do. It just comes down to like if the Cardinals think they have to move up because they pick very early in the second. Worst fit, probably the Browns. Like just the Browns are trying to go in the right place. They did some good stuff with the O-line. 1 second, we got to get Anna situated here. But yeah, I think I would probably say Browns is not ideal for Ty Simpson just because you got Shedeur there. There's a lot of noise. You don't really have any receivers. We'll see what they do after the trade down, which, by the way, I'm fine with trading down if you're the Browns. Target, tackle, wide receiver. I do see now from Colton was the super chat from the Army. So thank you, Colton, again for your service. And we're about to get all caught up here with the draft, you guys. Sonny Styles to the Commanders. We'll talk about this more here. So I think him going 7th is a very solid pick. Just waiting. There it is. It's a like it pick for me. I think Sonny Styles could turn into an elite linebacker in the NFL. They don't make them like God made Sonny Styles, 6'5", 245, just like the combine is one we will talk about for the next decade. Like this dude ran 4.47, and I'm saying these off the top of my head because we've talked about it so much, but he had like a 134-inch broad jump, like 40-something inch vert, just crazy, stupid stuff. What he was able to do. And he was a converted safety, moved down to linebacker. This was year 2 for him as a linebacker. And things have really started to come along for him. He's to me a guy that, we were talking about him in the 8 to 15 range of the draft, and then he has his combine and everybody says he's the best player in the draft. And that's where I kind of push back on some of the hype and the idea of taking a linebacker early. When you watch his tape, it's not like this guy takes over games or was even the second best player on his own defense, right? Like, it was very clear that Arvell Reese was a more disruptive playmaking player and Caleb Downs was the best player on that defense. Sonny Styles was a very solid, good college not solid. He was a very good college linebacker. Didn't miss any tackles. That's a point that people love to come back to him on, and that's incredible. Like his tackling ability is very special. Some of my holdups on him, though, are some of the diagnostic stuff. Like I think he gets a little bit too much credit for being this brilliant, incredible, do-it-all linebacker that had, like, he gets all these Fred Warner comps. And the thing about Fred Warner is, like, look at his RAS card. He wasn't, I mean, he moves really well. He's got length. He's a very, very good athlete, but he's a 4.6 40 kind of guy. Fred Warner's not some god of an athlete. He's the best linebacker in the league because of his run diagnostics, his instincts, his ability to find the ball, to take stuff away in coverage and make plays on the ball, to punch the ball out. Just assuming he's going to be Fred Warner, which when you take a linebacker this high, that's kind of the point, is that he's going to be the rare linebacker that changes football games on a consistent basis. It's just not the reality of the linebacker position, and that's why they don't get paid as much. But he's got a really nice, like, high-end cut up that can kind of suggest, like, okay, if we can put this all together, this guy could be a really special player. So Sonny Styles finished, I think, the 11th player on my board. He actually finished 10th on my board because we cranked Jermon McCoy fell down with the injury stuff. So very reasonable pick, and you get some sideline to sideline speed there too. The Commanders defense felt so slow with old man Bobby Wagner. Like, that's going to answer that question. The tackling and the speed. Dan Quinn probably got pretty tired of all of the run after catch. It reminds me a little bit of when the Panthers added at safety, they added Trayvon Merrick, who I think has been a little bit overrated throughout his career, but he's incredible as a pursuit and tackle player. Limits run after catch and limits big plays. That's what Sonny Styles really did best at Ohio State, is just tracked guys down. And for a Commanders defense that really struggled with that, you're not going to deal with that as much this year. So that'll be, as you hopefully get him to reach that next level as a linebacker, he does bring a very nice floor with that. All right, so it is interesting that Ruben Bain is still on the board, and I thought the Chiefs were going to be very interested in Ruben Bain, but they wanted that corner. So, yeah, the fall of Ruben Bain is on and going to become an interesting conversation here. And the Saints are making their pick right now. And there it is. Jordan Tyson goes top 10. All of the noise was real. Interesting. Okay. I wasn't sure if all the noise was going to be real or not. Basically, within the last week, it was like kind of the worst kept secret in the world was that Jordan Tyson was going to go in the top 10 of the draft. If Jordan Tyson could, if you could promise me a clean bill of health, that he was going to stay healthy in the league, he's probably top 5 player in this draft. He's the number 1 wide receiver in this draft. But that's unfortunately not the case. He's missed a lot of football with 3 different injuries. He had an ACL injury in his freshman season, forced him to miss his second year. And then Arizona State was awesome in 2024. They went to the college football playoffs, but he broke his collarbone. And then this most recent season was probably the most concerning of them all, was hamstring issues started to pop up. He missed a handful of games this year, and then the whole pre-draft process, he wasn't able to run his 40. He wasn't really able to do any of that stuff. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind with Jordan Tyson is, like, please just stay healthy, especially if you're spending a top 10 pick on him. Now, as a football player, you can easily justify this. So, if the doctors, and that's the other thing, is all I can really go off of is, yeah, the dude's been hurt in college. I kind of have the general belief that if you get hurt in college, you're going to get hurt in the NFL. But these teams have doctors way above my pay grade that have information that I just don't have access to. So if they're comfortable with the medicals, then this is a very justifiable pick. He's a sharp route runner, great hands, savvy after the catch. I compare him to Stephon Diggs. He's very explosive, just a natural tracking the football. It's very hard to argue with the talent assessment of Jordan Tyson as the number 8 pick. And as far as being a fit for this team, and I'm gonna officially give this a like it grade because I am worried about the injuries. I am. But as far as, again, the talent and then it being a fit, that's exciting. I mean, Tyler Shuck throws a beautiful deep ball. I've liked Carnell Tate for them, but Carnell Tate is gone. And I will say this too, with these top wide receivers, it's all about which skill set makes the most sense for your team and how your roster is constructed. Like, I want that perimeter, that true perimeter receiver for the Saints. So if you can't get Carnell Tate, I think Jordan Tyson is the best true perimeter player, even above Mekhi Lemon, who's my number 1 wide receiver in this draft, and above Omar Cooper Jr., who's my number 2 wide receiver in this draft. So I understand why they're like, yeah, this is what our offense needs right here. Now you got him and Olave. Like, that's you're kind of holding your breath every week. Like, are our wide receivers going to come out of this game upright? But from a talent perspective, I'm excited for Tyler Shuck, and I really hope that Jordan Tyson can stay healthy because he is dynamic when he's out there. All right, let's catch up on Super Chats. Hopefully we have a minute here. So from Resting Bonk Face, great name. Favorite draft stream. Thanks, Marcus. If you're sending Styles to Guantanamo Bay for being in the 10 to 15, where am I sending Bailey as the 2nd overall pick? I don't know, Jupiter? Not a fan of the Bailey pick, man. Really not a fan of the Bailey pick, as you guys know. Keegan says, what's up, Marcus? My 8th year in the draft stream. 8th year. Woo! So that's 2018. Yeah, it's about when it all began, man. So Keegan, you get the soundbite as well. You get an MVP for 8 years. Have I been doing the stream for 8 years? I guess. Time flies, man. Alex says, what's your take on the Sexy Dexy trade? Bengals have a conservative process, frustratingly so at least love the aggression and win now mentality. Yeah, I'm excited for the Bengals, man. That was really fun. Big price to pay with the number 10 pick, but I think I'd rather, if it was like, a lot of these teams have to give 2 first-round picks, and you never know what's going to happen the next year, right? Joe Burrow could get hurt, like whatever. There's kind of a nice luxury of just being like, okay, ideally we would give you 2 firsts that are like later firsts, but there's kind of a nice soothing reality of like, well, we weren't as good as we hoped we would be. We have this big asset with the number 10 pick. We don't think we're going to draft anybody with that pick that's as impactful as Dexter Lawrence. So let's just take this pick and turn him into Dexter Lawrence, and we'll have our picks again. Like, I love the move for the Bengals. It makes me excited to watch them. I feel like they're a couple pieces away from being a much more competitive defense, and Dexter Lawrence is the force multiplying player in the NFL. So I'm excited for it. And for the Giants, I mean, to get the number 10 pick for him is a really nice return, and that relationship had soured. So I don't love being without Dexter Lawrence, but we didn't even talk about that with the Arvell Reese trade. Pick. It didn't come to my mind. Adding to that D-line did make sense long-term without one of the best defensive players in the league. But okay, Spencer Fano is the first offensive lineman drafted to the Cleveland Browns. And this was always like their strategy, right? Like, they know Spencer Fano doesn't need to be the 6th pick in the draft. That's not who he is as a prospect. But you trade down, you get some extra draft picks, you take your guy at number 9, including the trade down. Sure. I love it. All these tackles, you could convince me are the best in this draft, honestly. Like, there's an argument, I think, for probably everyone. I don't know that you have a great argument that Blake Miller is the best tackle, even though he's my tackle 3. But you could probably make a pretty nice argument for any of these other guys. And the argument for Spencer Fano is that he's the cleanest in terms of probably like pass blocking production, hands, really nice athlete, guard tackle flexibility. The Browns are like sorting through this big kind of like random button motley crew of offensive linemen. So he's probably going to be their left tackle. But I think you can absolutely justify this for the Browns, and we knew that they were eyeing a tackle. So this is one of the non-surprises of this draft is the Browns trade down and get a tackle. It's a mock draft bit as old as time. And now we have another tackle off the board, Francis Maui-Noa for the Giants. So here we go again, Giants fans. 2 top 10 picks, an edge rusher, and a tackle. We'll see if history rewrites itself or if these guys are going to be the future building blocks for this team. I loved what the Giants did when they took Thibodeau and they took Evan Neal, just like the Giants were. I was wrong about those players. I'm willing to stand here again and say that this is a great pick. Did you update the graphic?
I did.
It's still on Fano for me.
Oh.
But Maui-Noa was my number 1 offensive tackle, and it is a ring the bell moment for me, by the way. I gotta give that heart a ring. This is absolutely a ring the bell moment. Why would we take a tackle? We already have Andrew Thomas and Jermaine Illuminor. Well, I've made that mock draft pick a bunch of times, and I've continued to do it despite Giants fans pushing back on it. The reason I justified Maui-Noa over taking the guard in Vega Wane, who might be the best offensive lineman in this draft, but is a pure guard. Look, the harsh reality for the Giants is Andrew Thomas, one of my favorite offensive linemen in the league, can't stay on the field. He has missed way too much time, and when he's gone down, things have fallen off the rails. Francis Maui-Noa is going to start at right guard and be damn good at it. He is close, I think, to what Vega Wane would be as a guard. And maybe he even has a better upside as a guard because he's a tremendous athlete. But if Andrew Thomas goes down, you're taking a guy that was basically a lockdown pass protector for a national championship run and a great run blocker. One of the higher floor players in this draft. I love this pick for the Giants. And it's really not a surprise, right, that Harbaugh comes in and you take a D lineman, assuming he's going to play D-line, and you take an offensive lineman. Like, that's the least surprising thing ever. Like, the Harbaughs build through the trenches. And I love building through the trenches. I've had some questions about the Harbaugh hire, but that mentality is absolutely the right way to do things. And with Maui-Noa on an offensive line that was finally, for the first freaking time, the Giants' offensive line last year didn't make you want to pull your eyes out every week.
I think it's hair, baby.
No. In this case, it's eyes.
Gross.
It made your eyes bleed. That's a TFG-ism for sure. Pull your hair out, make your eyes bleed. No. The Giants' offensive line spent 5 years making you want to pull your eyes out. I'll stand by it. Stand by it. And now you have one of the best in the league. And flexibility. I love it, man. I can't say certified steal because this to me is like the proper range for Maui-Noa. I know I've taken him at 5 for the Giants, but they were able to do it at 10 here. I kind of like what their process has been is like, we didn't really think Arvell Reese was going to be there, but I would guess like they'll probably say at the podium tonight, like Arvell Reese was the best player in the draft in our opinion. I would not be surprised if that's a soundbite we get from them. And they're like, we just had to take him. And, you know, Maui-Noa for me on the big board finished 11th, but tackles get pushed up the board, right? He's my OT1. So really like this for the Giants. And then, so did the Cowboys just moved up a spot, huh?
Yes.
So Reuben Bain falls out of the top 10. This could absolutely be Reuben Bain for Dallas. It's either that or Downs. I will say Miami's like we get either Downs or Ruben Bain, and we can get extra picks. I mean, okay. Okay.
The Dolphins got the 177 pick and 180 pick.
Wow. They got nothing. 177 and 180 for the Dolphins, who already have a million picks, but hey, why not? All right, super chats. Once I get some nutrients from my cheddar jalapeno Cheetos. There's probably some vitamins in there or something. I don't know. All right. Where did we leave off? From Ty Kendall. You guys have been amazing with the super chats, by the way. Thank you so much. It goes a really long way. I can't even catch up with you guys, but we're going to try to do that here. So
remind them if we miss them to.
Yep. If I miss any over on TikTok, send a DM. We'll get you covered. But who's your favorite player / team fit this year? The first thing that comes to my mind is Omar Cooper Jr. to the Rams, which is coming up here as an option. Just from a scheme fit perspective. He's a boomer bust prospect, but I think Peter Woods to the Texans with how they do their fronts would make a lot of sense. I think Thieneman to the Vikings, who do deploy a true free safety role in Brian Flores' system, really comes to my mind. So there's a few of them. From Smokey, love your content. Football Analysis said that Bain could be a defensive player of the year candidate. Do you agree? Also, should the Chiefs go cornerback or wide receiver at 29, maybe even trade up from 29? So this must have been before they came and got their corner. But I do agree on Ruben Bain on the field. I think he's the best player in the draft. I think he can absolutely be a defensive player of the year candidate. It's hard to say. We'll look back on this and say, how the hell did that guy fall when there is stuff going on off the field? But I do think, strictly from a football perspective, there's a chance that he's a guy that gets drafted 11th, and it's like, wait a minute, that was the best player in that draft class. What happened? And then, I think the Chiefs should look wide receiver or edge at 29, depending on how the board is looking. We're going to get this pick here in just a second. The Cowboys are going to milk their publicity. It's not a coincidence that they went to commercial break with the big Cowboys logo there. So I'm very curious if this is Ruben Bain. Caleb Downs. Great pick. So to get Downs at 11 and you give up basically nothing. They gave up, I think, a couple of 5th-round picks. I think this might be our first certified steal. I do. He, to me, is right and kind of up there with, where Jeremiah Love is for me in terms of just best football players in the draft. For me, there was 3 blue-chip prospects in this draft. Ruben Bain, who maybe didn't get the blue chip after the report came out. Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Love. And you get one of those guys here with the 11th pick. He is everything you look for in a modern safety. The Cowboys will be going to a new system, which is going to be that Fangio split safety, modern meta system. And Caleb Downs, not only does he just happen to be one of the best players in the draft, he happens to be perfectly built to play in that system based on how he takes intermediate throws away, his IQ to trigger and close on space over the middle of the field. My favorite one-liner on him is he has an understanding for taking throws away, for taking intermediate routes away. He has a feel for doing that I think a lot of NFL defensive backs would struggle to admit that it's a lot harder to coach than it is, if that makes sense. Basically, you don't need to coach this guy anything. I mean, he is ready to go. He plays the run really well, by the way. He tackles, he fills. There's just really not much negative to say on him. Like, it's, okay, he's not the biggest guy. There were some medical red flags that were reported that we don't really know about. But he plays above his size from a physicality standpoint. And in this system, he's going to be able to play out in space anyway. So this is a heck of a pick, man, for Dallas to get Caleb Downs where they got him. Very fun. All right. Let's keep going through some of these super chats. So Tanner, what's up, Tanner? Good to see you, my friend. What do you think is the team that could improve the most from this draft as a whole if they play their cards right? Personally, Miami, IMO. Yeah, I mean, the teams that have a ton of picks, Jets, for sure. Although the David Bailey pick, not my favorite. But yeah, Miami, 100%. I think, I mean, the Giants, obviously, at this point. I like your Miami shout out. I think the Raiders, obviously getting the quarterback is a big deal. That could improve things tremendously. From Joe, Vontae, Mac, no matter what type of energy in the draft so far. So teams just taking their guys no matter what. There might have been a little bit of that with the Jets. Potentially. Or maybe with Carnell Tate, maybe at number 4. But shout out Vontae Mac from the movie Draft Day. What a movie, man. Chris says, this is a tip for your wonderful wife who helps every year. Congrats on the baby. Do you want to say thank you?
I didn't hear.
You just listening to music or something? You would laugh?
I was reading the chat.
Oh, you're reading the chat. Well, Chris gave a super chat for you. He says, thanks for helping every year. Here's a tip. Congrats on the baby.
Thank you.
Only one says, greetings from Finland. It's 3:30 a.m., but still worth it. I actually had Tate going to the Titans. Thought they had no real weapons for Cam. Yeah, I think I've done it in a mock draft or two, but shout out to you out in Finland. 3:30 a.m. is crazy, man. The NFL draft is like none other. It is the NBA Finals and World Series wish that they could hold a candlestick next to the NFL draft. Really? Okay. So, Caden Proctor's off the board, you guys. Probably not what we saw coming. I don't know that I ever saw Caden Proctor mocked to the Dolphins. Now, I don't hate it. I don't hate it as much as I think a lot of people are going to hate it. Number one, Maui Noah and Fano are already off the board. So you gotta dip down on your tackle list a little bit. I will say, I love the Dolphins going O-line. I do. Kind of processing this on the fly before I put the grade up. That would have been my philosophy for the Dolphins, is you have the 11th pick. There's a bunch of guys in this draft. If you look at the big board, there's a bunch of guys in that 10 to 20 range that are really good O-line prospects. It's just, you're a new regime. Let's get the offensive line. Let's build through the line. I think from a process perspective, that makes sense. Now, Proctor is fascinating because he played close to 380 pounds at Alabama. And that's just not practical to ask him to do that. I have no idea why Alabama loves their tackles as big as they make them play at. But, and I'll start the highlights over because I was blocking it with the big board there. Sorry. I got to stop doing that. But he's dropped weight. He's down, I think around 350. So he's lost 20 plus pounds and maybe is continuing to drop down to like 340. And what's interesting is he's a really good natural athlete. Like, they literally threw him the football on a screen and he like plowed through the defense. They would use him as a move blocker. They would do all these crazy things with him. He gets off the ball like north and south. It's just, they asked him to play too big, and his feet were too heavy, and he lost to a lot of pass rushers that just had quicker feet than him when he got left on an island. But if he is getting down to a good playing weight and you've seen him moving around and the feet look great, I can totally understand why you might think he's one of the best tackles in this draft and worth the 13th pick. So I can't sit here and be like, oh my God, what a steal. Like, can't believe they got Caden Proctor at number 12 or anything like that. But I certainly could see this working out for him. And the other nice thing is when I've talked about picking a lineman for the Dolphins, they kind of have their tackles sort of. Like Austin Jackson's their right tackle. He's okay. Like he's probably the 28th, 29th best right tackle in the league. But he's practical. And you have Paul at left tackle, who we don't really know if he's good yet. He played much better last year, but it was in a McDaniel system where the ball's out and it's not a lot of real pass blocking snaps. So they have to figure out the long-term answers at tackle. But right now, I think Proctor could probably play guard right away where they have massive issues at guard. So I certainly anticipate some people are going to hate this pick, but I would encourage Dolphins fans that, you know, maybe it's okay. I can see where they got to this point. Now, if he gets to the NFL and the foot speed still stinks, and he can't pass protect, then yeah, they're going to run into some troubles for sure. You crack the window a little bit. Yeah, it's hot in here. Of course, our freaking air conditioning decides draft weekend is a great weekend to not be working. So we might hear some wild animals chiming in. I don't think it'll come through, but let us know if, as soon as you open it, I can hear like a bird or a squirrel going at it out there.
People are wanting to see Teddy.
Teddy, you're being requested. Come here. Okay, Teddy, should we answer some super chats? All right. So Francis, been watching your channel since the Madden rosters on Xbox 360. Keep up the great work. Yeah, I mean, that's like, you're one of the original 100 in that case. So shout out to you. My thing just, I'm going to restart my Stream Deck app here because it's being a little janky. Because that's non-negotiable. We need the Stream Deck to be working. So, let's see. Did that do it? All right. I think it was just glitching. Okay. From Tall Relativity, Brett is shaking his fist at the Tate pick. Is he... I'm assuming you're talking about Brett Coleman, not your friend Brett that nobody knows that you're watching the draft with. I like that scenario better. Just like... Kevin hates the Carnell Tate pick. Anyway, maybe I'm getting loopy. I don't know. So Brett actually doesn't like it, or you're just saying that because he took Vega Wane in our mock draft, which was fun. I'm very excited to see what some of my favorite analysts like Brett think of some of these unexpected draft picks, man. So Arlo says, hate the Love pick, man. Not the player, but I just can't get along with the team building. Hopefully I'm wrong. I'm with you, man. When are the Cardinals going to have an offensive line, dude? Like, come on. And you already have running backs. I feel bad for Tyler Algier, dude. Great rookie season. And the Falcons are like, thanks for your service. We're taking Bijan because Bijan's Bijan. And he's like, okay, I guess I'm a backup now. 3 years later, he finally hits free agency For some reason, he signs on like the first day for no money in the worst running back market we've seen in years in an already crowded running back room. And then that team's like, yeah, we're just going to take Jeremiah Love with the third pick. It's just crazy what has transpired so that Tyler Algier can't succeed for my dynasty team.
Shout out to me always beating.
Yeah, shout out to Anna for always beating me in our dynasty league. Although I did win the lottery, and I got Jeremiah Love, which I didn't think about that. I mean, even as a dynasty owner, like future dynasty owner of Jeremiah Love, I really wish he went somewhere else, dude. Like, there's so many running backs in there for year one. And I just don't think it's going to be a situation that's like conducive to a bunch of success. I think it's going to be kind of like what happened with Ginty last year. The talent will win over eventually, but you're just kind of wasting those touches, leaving them suspect to injuries, vulnerable to injuries. It's just not good team building. Great player, not good team building. And I think that's probably going to be the consensus opinion on it. Whoa! Ty Simpson to the Rams? That's a bell. That's a ring the bell. I like Ty Simpson for what he is now. 13th? Woo. Okay. Look, as someone that said, I think Ty Simpson can be a franchise quarterback, I'm happy because it's going to happen now. How many times have we been saying this guy should just go to the Rams? Like, he'll be good if he just goes to the Rams. Otherwise, he's probably going to suck. That has probably been said about 250 quarterbacks over the last 3 years. And Ty Simpson is the lucky guy that gets to be in exactly the situation he needs. I've compared him to, and I'm going to say I like this pick, by the way. This is a situation where Ty Simpson, he needs time. He's only started 13 games. His processing is very inconsistent. Sometimes he sees things right on time. Sometimes he sees things too fast and will like pass up first reads that are open just so that he can get to his second read. And sometimes he'll hit that. Sometimes he won't. And sometimes he just misses, he's just late to reads entirely. His decision-making is inconsistent where you'll see him push the ball into harm's way at times. And it's just like you feel like you're watching a quarterback that has only started 13 games in his career because he just needs reps. He needs time on task. There's the same deal with Jordan Love coming out. Now, I had a much higher grade on Jordan Love, but it's the same idea. And what I really got tired of was people saying that he is, Brock Purdy, Case Keenum, these quarterbacks that don't have traits. I just genuinely question how much Ty Simpson you were watching or if you were only watching when he was hurt at the end of the year. I mean, you're seeing it on screen right now. He's got a strong arm. He pushes the ball downfield. He can extend plays out of the pocket. He has, honestly, my pro comp on him, my final pro comp was the full Sam Darnold spectrum, where if you don't do right by him, he's probably going to be an erratic, bust, like just inconsistent, erratic play. You put him in a good situation, develop him. We saw what happened. He's very Sam Darnold-esque, and I've compared Sam Darnold and Jordan Love. Like, he's in that bucket of quarterbacks that just need to go to the right place. And here you go, man. He's on the frickin' Rams. So I can't say that I love it from a value perspective. He was the 30th player on my board. I had him in first-round consideration. They probably felt like they needed to take him here so that, the Cardinals don't jump them in their division. Like they're kind of cock blocking the Cardinals a little bit in their division from getting a quarterback. So it's a little added screw you there. But I love it, man. We might not see him for 2 or 3 years, but this pick was house money from the Falcons trade last year. And I think this is the perfect balance of... Wait. My brain just went back like 2 months in that analysis to the point where the Rams had the 29th pick. So sorry about that. I was still thinking the Rams had the 29th pick. They obviously don't. They traded that for Trent McDuffie, but you used that pick already. So you can't get Ty Simpson there. You have to get him here. That makes a lot more sense, Marcus. Great analysis. Yeah, I think it's good, man. If he turns into the franchise quarterback, I think he can be. If he's something like a Jordan Love or a Sam Darnold, no one's going to be like, he should have gotten picked in the 20s and not at 13. And this is the perfect spot. So I like it, man. I think we just saw back-to-back picks that I think are going to be universally hated on, that I don't feel the need to necessarily hate on, especially this one. So that's fascinating. Very, very fascinating. All right. Super chat from Dylan. Been here since the 2020 draft. You got me into it. Really hope you're wrong about Bailey. Otherwise, like what Moogie has done. Hey, I hope I'm wrong about Bailey too. But I'm just telling you how I see it. And by the way, Ruben Bain is still here. The Ravens have a chance to do the funniest thing ever and take Ruben Bain and become the true villains of the NFL. I'm fully expecting this is going to be the pick. Oh, no. Hey, they went chalk. That is definitely the, that is your Mac no matter what pick right there for the Ravens. Oh, Ruben Bain is still there? And we're taking Vega anyway. I've probably taken Vega Wane in 80% of my mock drafts with the Ravens. Their guard play was debilitating for their team last year. Vega Wane is right around this range in this draft, about the 10th to 15th best player in this draft. It's kind of depending who you ask, but the range doesn't vary that much. I mean, pretty much everybody loves this guy. And it just was too good to be true. So I love it. Lamar is going to love it. I can't say certified steal necessarily because it was kind of expected in shock, but it's a very easy grade to fall in love with there, and we will play some Vega Wane highlights while I take a minute to clear my throat. I think he allowed like 4 pressures all year. Check my notes. By the way, my highest graded offensive lineman in this draft class, he allowed 4 pressures this season in true pass rush situations per PFF, and he's a nasty run blocker. So, such a Ravens pick. Hopefully he can be their next Marshall Yanda. And that's obviously high praise, but it's praise that I'm willing to throw out there. Like, he has that type of skill set at guard where he's very athletic. I wouldn't describe him as an insane athlete, but considering he's 320 pounds, as strong as he is, he moves plenty fine to block any system. Being a great pass blocker, he looks to help, which is great. Like, he ends blocks. So, I think Ravens fans are just fine with that. And Lamar is like, oh, thank God. My leg isn't going to snap in half by week 10 again this year. So let's take a look at some super chats. So, from Z Klein, love the content and the way you approach your breakdowns. One of the best I've seen. Keep it going. Much love. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Marquez said, would Ty Simpson be number 2 in last year's draft? So, no. I actually had the same grade on Simpson as I did on both Dart and Shuck. And I was a coward with Shadur. My gut told me to put Shuck over Shadur, but I didn't go that far. So Simpson actually would have been tied for QB3 with Shuck and Dart, with Shadur just a tick above him. Those guys would all be like right in a cluster there. From Given Doe, AZ local media reports the owner essentially commanded Monty to take Jeremiah Love to get more butts in the seats. Thank you for your coverage. Yeah, that's how bad teams stay bad, is ownership meddling. So I'm curious to see if that's true. It's a shame if it is. I mean, it'll get more butts in the seats, but it just does not make any sense, man. It does not make any sense. From Mason, I have a horrifying idea. Did the Browns trade down to take Ty Simpson at 9? So they dodged that. They took their tackle. But thank you, Mason. That shows how we're a little bit further behind on these. But they're giving us some time to catch up, which is good. Adrenaline says, for the love of Sonny Weaver, just don't let the Saints mess it up. I wouldn't say they messed it up. They just took a risk. They took a risk on an injury-prone player that will be excellent for them if he can stay healthy. Torrey Horton fans says, F it, Giants should just draft Bain at 10, trade Burns and Thibodeau. That'd probably be a little overkill. I love the Giants getting some O-line, Maui Noah. Giants might have to be my next Madden team. I'll say that. My next Madden rebuild team. I love when I pick a Madden rebuild, I want O-linemen. And they're pretty freaking locked with some good O-linemen there. And Andrew Thomas doesn't get hurt in Madden like he does in real life. Trevor says, I've kind of lost my love for following the sport during the offseason the last few years, but I'm excited to watch your coverage, even with little clue of what's going on outside of the top 5. Hey, if your team's not in it, or you got shows to watch or whatever, hey, I get it. I could get how you can reach the point where you're like, I need a break, but I can't say that too loud because most of my content is off-season content. So you guys better not go anywhere, because we got deep dives coming up. Official Josh says, I'm glad that. Okay, this is the official. Hold on. The official Josh Bell YouTube. Good evening from the official Josh Bell YouTube channel. Thank you for your good work. Good luck with the rest of the night, Josh Bell. If you are actually Josh Bell of the Minnesota Twins, keep hitting, man. You're playing great. Great value add. I'm loving Josh Bell, and it makes me think of Drake and Josh every single time I watch a Twins game. Ruben Bain, there he goes, to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Holy crap. I want to call Trevor Sikkema right now. I really want to call Trevor Sikkema right now. I don't know if he's streaming or what he's doing, but somewhere Trevor Sikkema is just running circles around his house. I hope he has his clothes on. That's the best pick of the draft. From a football perspective, it's the best pick of the draft. It's the best player in the draft, going to a team that needed edge rushers. I mean, what is left to say? He falls because probably some combination of shorter arms and, frankly, from my position, driving an accident that led to the tragic loss of life, that we just don't know what the hell happened. This has been like covered up for years. It's just bizarre, man. I have a hard time like taking a stance on this type of thing. The family of the girl that passed away was like, we've moved on. It was a tragic accident. Like, we wish the best for Ruben Bain. I think that was really powerful and speaks. I think it's a good sign that like this just was a shitty situation and we're all ready to move on. I really hope that's the case, man. And if it is, and the other reason he fell is because he's got short arms. I mean, come on. This is, how many times do I have to say the best player in this draft? He is a potential defensive player of the year type of edge rusher. Probably the most powerful edge rush prospect. I think Jared Verse is up there, but I would say Ruben Bain as a prospect. I think Jared Verse has the second best bull rush in the league behind what Will Anderson has turned into. But I wouldn't say that Jared Verse as a prospect had better power than Ruben Bain. He's got every counter move in the book. He's got potentially top 3 bend of any edge rusher in this draft. He's hilariously good against the run. When you watch enough tape on Ruben Bain, I think you reach a point where you just say, I don't care that he has 30 and 7/8 inch hands, because it's like, just show me one example of that mattering just once, and it just doesn't happen. He was the core reason, along with his teammate Akeem Mesidor, who I love. I mean, this Miami team was very similar to the NFL Houston Texans, where they had the 2 best edge rushers in the draft. And the Texans last year had, maybe the first and 4th best edge rushers in the NFL. And Ruben Bain was their Will Anderson. And I think he's going to be able to play up to that in the league. We see these every couple years where a pick happens and you just know 3 years from now, we're going to look back on it and be like, yeah, the NFL kind of screwed that up. Like, what were they thinking? David Bailey went number 2 that year? Like, that's the way I see this. So it's going to be really hard to see any pick tonight passing that up for the best pick of the draft. That's just insane, man. Wow. So let's keep getting these super chats out of the way. Sportsakai says the Sports IQ platform loves these players. Many being tagged as all pro talent, not where they were picked. Good luck to all of tonight's talent. I guess I'm not following that. I'm not sure if that's a promotion or what, but from Bumba, as a Chiefs fan, Delane is literally the worst possible pick. The defense sucked with McDuffie last year because nobody could get home. Look, I would have taken Ruben Bain. I've been very clear about that, but I do think Delane is great. And I will say this, Trent McDuffie wasn't that great last year. I think Delane could give you better play than what you got from McDuffie last year. Ooh, Jets take Kenyon Sadiq. First comment I saw is Titansing says, wow, I remember Marcus getting flamed for putting this in a mock draft. Yeah, I did have this in a mock draft. And then I later admitted that I had a complete brain fart and forgot that they took Mason Taylor last year. So I kind of did it on accident, but I'll take credit for it, I guess. But I like Kenyon Sadiq a lot. This is pretty close to a best player available pick. I mean, I would have much rather taken Mekhi Lemon personally, because I'm willing to see what Mason Taylor can do to develop. But hey, Kenyon Sadiq is a really, really good football player. I don't think he gets enough credit personally for route running, tough catches, like really a fluid receiving talent, which is what you want from a guy that runs 4.4, that's an undersized tight end. I think as a true slot wide receiver, he's one of the better wide receivers in this draft. But he's a great blocker, man. He's not someone I want to have him put his hand in the dirt and be a wide tight end all the time. And I think the plan here has got to be having Mason Taylor bulk up, play at like 255, kind of look at what Colston Loveland did last year, kind of go. I know Loveland hasn't stepped into that role yet because Kmet is still doing it, but that's the long-term plan. I want Sadiq as the F tight end and the starting slot wide receiver, not as your starting Y tight end. So this is not giving up on Mason Taylor. This is ideally, I think, having those guys coexist and tapping into the modern meta of the NFL, which is 12 personnel, where your second guy is half slot, half tight end. Defenses don't know how to match you, and you're just a constant headache. So I think I initially put like it on the screen. I think I'm going to say I love it. I think the only holdup, it's somewhere between like it and love it, because I think it would have been much easier to just take Mekhi Lemon, who I think the NFL is overthinking at this point. Mekhi Lemon's my number 5 player in this draft, and you need a number 2 wide receiver, and his skill set's perfect with Garrett Wilson. But I still have Kenyon Sadiq as the number 12 player in this draft. I think he's phenomenal in his own right. So I can't really complain about it, and I'm excited to see their 12 personnel. I think Kenyon Sadiq is closer to Brock Bowers as a prospect than people care to admit. He's not Brock. I mean, Brock Bowers was special, but the idea is very similar. And Brock Bowers at his best when he's playing the slot, when he's playing outside, when he's an F tight end, when he's not your starting inline tight end. So that's going to be something I'm curious to track, is Mason Taylor's weight this year. We're going to take a quick break and come back, get your super chats. We're at the midway point. This is a good opportunity to just give us a minute. The real reason I needed a break was I needed to text Trevor Sikkema and say, I hate you. Ruben Bain at 15 is unbelievable.
He's on the Bleacher Report right now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. He's probably going nuts. Okay. So where do we leave off? From Sean says, prayers out for Teddy. Thank you. We appreciate you thinking of us and Teddy. I was wondering if you would still release the vid on the safeties and tight ends, even though it's after the draft. I will not be doing that because we're gonna talk every single one of these players during the draft grades. Which, if for some reason you're watching this and you're not subscribed or you haven't hit the like on the stream, please do that. But yeah, we'll be getting into all these guys' skill sets and stuff during the draft grades, and I will as well. Take a minute to remind you that my full draft guide is available on my Patreon. So if you are dying to know how I stacked these safeties, what my analysis was on all these guys, you can get even more information than you would get in a player rankings video and on every player, not just the top 10, over there on the Patreon. So thank you, Sean. Justin also says thoughts and prayers for Teddy. Appreciate you guys thinking of Teddy. We're all Teddy stans. We are all stans of Teddy. From Vodo, best football content on the web. Blessings to your new baby. Thank you. Curious your thoughts on which position the Niners need to address the most and which player may be there at 27 to do that. shout out Niners fans. A lot of Niners fans have been very interested in the direction they should go with the position there at 27. A lot of fun discourse about that with a lot of tackle picks. But I do think with the Trent Williams extension, you can still think about tackle because Trent's going to be 38 years old. Oh, I'm getting ready to ring the bell so freaking hard right now with this pick. But I think wide receiver would be ideal for the Niners. Now, I can't ring the bell like that loud because we opened the window and I don't want to wake up the whole neighborhood, but let's go.
If it was the Vikings pick, that would have been appropriate.
Yeah. I think I've picked Blake Miller to the Lions like 8 times this year. He is such a perfect fit. He underrated, I will say that, just off the bat. Like, Blake Miller is my 17th player. How freaking perfect is this? 17th player in the draft who I've mocked to Detroit like every single time goes to the team that we knew was going to take a tackle, and they get a guy that is just such a freaking lion in terms of his skill set. Like, they are going to love the run blocking. I mean, you just saw the opening play on this highlight reel, like putting him in motion to like tee off on a slot corner. Now, nobody else did their job on that play, but like, think of how they weaponized Penei Sewell. They have 2 of those guys now. Like, Blake Miller is such a better athlete than I almost said Taylor Lewan, Taylor Decker, who's been a nice player for them, but obviously no longer with the team. That's where Blake Miller really won me over, because people say the big knock on him is his anchor and pass protection. So I went in to watch him. I was like, well, he's probably not that good of a run blocker then if people don't think he's strong enough. And he gets after it. He gets his pads down. He blocks with excellent technique. Just, there's so many high upside athletes at tackle in this draft that it's been swept under the rug that Blake Miller is one of them. Like, I would say, yeah, he doesn't have the upside of the other, I would say 5 out of the top 6 tackles in this draft. I think his upside is higher than Fano. And he's a very good pass blocker too. Oh my God, Caleb Banks to the Vikings. This is getting nuts. I can't take the Blake Miller off the screen until Anna updates the graphic. So we'll get caught up here, but I love the pick for Detroit. Obviously, I was going to say the pass blocking is very good. Are you good? Okay. The pass blocking is very good for Blake Miller. I think he will benefit from being in that locker room where it's all about the weight room, and he just needs a little bit more strength, a little bit more anchor for pass pro. But I think Lions fans are going to be very happy with Blake Miller very quickly, and he's a play now tackle compared to some of these other guys. Okay, Caleb Banks to the Vikings. What a fun fit! This terrifies me as a Packers fan. I will say this: the Vikings, with Minnesota sports luck, they have taken injury-prone players before, and they never work out. They always hit the low end of their injury floor. So there is immediate panic that sets in when you see that Vikings logo next to Caleb Banks. But this guy's worth the 18th pick if he stays healthy. We're seeing that these teams are not, like with Tyson and Banks, not as worried about it. A report came out a couple of days ago that Caleb Banks, who broke his foot running his 40, is expected to be ready for the start of the season. And if you think that that's going to be behind him and he can stay healthy, I think his ceiling is Chris Jones. I really do. The athleticism at that size, the contact balance to play through blocks, the power when he just, look at that. He just manhandles SEC offensive linemen like it's nothing. He penetrates against the run. He very much like Chris Jones or Deone Walker last year. Like he understands who he is. He's an incredible athlete who's tall with this crazy contact balance. So he's not going to try to like command a gap or, be this this typical defensive tackle with typical technique. He's like, I'm getting upfield, I'm disrupting the play, someone else is going to have to finish it. But him with Brian Flores, the way he's going to be able to move this guy around, my God, this could be so fun. So for me, Caleb Banks with a clean bill of health is absolutely worth this pick, but you have to consider the medical risks that are attached with this. You have to consider the Vikings' history of taking injury-prone players and it just completely backfiring on them. As someone that has grown up in Minnesota, look, you can choose not to believe it. The sports in this state are cursed, and everybody gets hurt, and everything it just doesn't work out. It's just the reality. When you take an injury-prone player in this state, there is it's the conversations I have with people out at the bar, when we're talking sports, it's all the same. So it's a very Minnesota sports pick, but the upside's insane.
Shout out to Brandon, who gave a super chat. He said he wanted 11 and that this was a reach.
That's fair. That's fair, Brandon. I think not taking Mekhi Lemon could be a mistake. Absolutely. He would have been insane in this system. And I really do think the NFL is overthinking Mekhi Lemon at this point quite a bit. And our Panthers could get him here, which would be like the equivalent of when they got T-Mac last year.
Will you put on the hat if the Panthers?
I will 100% put the hat on. We need to get the hat. I think it's in the. I think it might still be. Is it in there?
Yeah.
Let me see if the hat's in here, guys. One second. We need the Panthers sombrero. Yeah, I'm gonna throw a YouTube ad at you real quick.
Where else would it be?
I think it's in the. Yeah, I think it's in the garage, in that last box. We'll see.
We'll get it for
We'll
tomorrow.
We shall see. All right, we are about to get the Panthers pick. I want to. Okay, you can have it. Will it be Mekhi Lemon?
No, Freeling.
Really?
Okay, so we didn't need the hat after all.
We didn't need the hat. So I like the player at this spot. I just kind of was thinking the Panthers were cool with their tackle situation. It's kind of fun, like actually being able to think like a fan for another team. Because fans always naturally want your team to go need in the first round. This is not a need, but it does make some sense. I think I land on like it. Feels like we're, other than the Jets pick and the Cardinals who had their owner, like obviously the teams picking at the top that always stay bad because their owners suck. Other than that, it feels like most teams like don't make picks that just don't make sense. So Monroe Freeling for me was the number 15 player in this draft. Like this is a good value at the tackle position. And he's a guy that needs a little time. He has like all these mental glitches on tape that show up where he'll like let a guy cross his face or he won't pick up a stunt or someone will pull off an inside counter on him. And it's like, dude, why did you not pick up your foot to cut off the inside counter? I know you have the crazy athleticism to do it. So there's just like little mental technical stuff to clean up for him. But he's got that crazy like 6'7" range, unbelievable athlete. When it clicks for him in the run game, it's special. And I would say, other than the occasional inside counters, his pass blocking was very good. There's a big reason why I did find myself higher on Monroe Freeling. I think his technique is good. His hands are strong. For a guy that's as tall as he is, you always worry about that anchor of guys like getting up and under their chest and creating that ugly knockback effect. You don't see that with him, which is a huge, I just can't stress enough how big of a building block that is. I just want to turn the highlights off real quick if I could. And we just got Lemon to the Eagles, which is annoying. But Howie just keeps picking up everybody's breadcrumbs. God damn it. I hate the Eagles because they win the draft every year, and it's just so annoying that the NFL just keeps letting the Eagles get away with it. This is the Jesse Pinkman. We can't keep letting him get away with it. This is not that far off of the Ruben Baines deal, honestly. Like, Mekhi Lemon is the number 4 player in my draft. I think he's some blend of Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jackson Smith and Jigba. And, I mean, my God, I can't say enough about how good of a football player he is. He just isn't that big, and he's not that fast. But in the modern NFL, that just, I mean, everybody's top 5 wide receiver list is going to have Amon-Ra St. Brown in it. It's going to have Puka Nacua in it. And you might have, sorry, did I say Amon-Ra? Jackson Smith and Jigba, Puka Nacua, and it might have Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra's probably top 10. But amazing route runner, plays physical, really nice after the catch. He has the same thing that Antonio Brown had, where he just comes down with the ball when there's players around him. When he's got defenders draped all over him, it's like he's in the Matrix, and he can slow time down and come down with these balls. And you watch a couple games on Mekhi Lemon or even a highlight reel, and you're like, well, that's nice, but that won't work in the NFL. Well, I mean, we said the same exact thing about Amon-Ra and Jackson Smith and Jigba and Puka Nacua. And there's a skill set there. Like, that catch right there. Perfect example. Traffic around him. A lot of guys aren't going to track that ball in, or they're going to get hit after the catch and the ball's going to pop out. He just finds the ball and comes down with it, man. And he gets open. He's great from the slot, which is not, it's not the knock on a receiver that it used to be. And it took me some time to like reshape my perspective on the idea that a slot wide receiver can be one of the best receivers in the NFL, that he can be the engine of your offense, that he's worth a first-round pick, all that stuff. I think 10 years ago, you know, when the game was different, that was a legitimate thing. But now when it's too high defenses and you got to be able to, you know, win in tight areas over the middle of the field, you got to be a great run after catch player. You've got all these creative offenses that are finding ways to get slot wide receivers away from having to face press coverage. It's just the game is built for these types of receivers, and there's a reason we're in this era, and he's just another one of them. So I mean, they're going to trade A.J. Brown, and Jalen Hurts just continues to have one of the best wide receivers duos in the league. Despite that, it's just insane what the Eagles do to build this thing up. Just crazy. And they traded up to do it. Wow. All right. Let's get some super chats going here, because we got a big one from Sirodin. $50 super chat. Thank you so much. I'm trying to find. You get an MVP soundbite there. Greetings from Germany. Thank you for being one of the main sources of football content over the years. I'm in your ear every week while you work on your PhD. Good luck with that. Might have to put me in my honorable mentions of your finishing thesis. I would be honored. I would be honored to be in your honorable mentions for helping you get through your work. But thank you so much. From Germany. Makes me miss Germany quite a bit, to be honest. Beautiful country out there. All right. Kent, $5 super chat. Thank you. Antonio says, Niners trade for Algier, please. I think someone should trade for Algier, dude. Like, get free Tyler Algier, please. This poor man has never been utilized. Seattle would make a lot of sense, especially because Zach Charbonnet might not be able to play this year. Pro comp on Zach Charbonnet was Tyler Algier, I'm pretty sure. Alex says, been watching since my Blake Martinez video. Haven't missed a draft yet. Happy draft day, dude. The Blake Martinez video was legendary, and then I went at it with Carl Banks on it on Twitter, and I'm just gonna say I was right. But Carl Banks makes wonderful female MLB attire, and is a Giants Hall of Famer. So shout out Carl Banks, I guess. I've heard he's a really nice guy. He just occasionally he will have 2 glasses of whiskey, and that's when he logs onto Twitter. And he just maybe can get a little bit aggro with some fans at times. I have realized I'm not the only person that Carl Banks has gone after, but I'm sure he's a great guy. Tanner went away for a bit, but what did I think of the Tyson going to the Saints? Love the pairing in that offense. Yeah, agreed. The talent, pairing, fit, all boxes checked. It's just you're taking a risk on the health, right? I liked the pick. It's just I hope he stays healthy. I really hope he stays healthy. But I can see why they made that pick. As a Rams fan, I did not see it with Ty Simpson help me cope. Yeah, I just, he's inconsistent. He's played 13 starts, but I see someone that has pretty good pocket presence, honestly, which is always a good baseline of this guy can make it. I think his arm is incredibly underrated. He's got playmaking instincts. He has moments where he really goes through progressions and shows the NFL reads. He actually attacked the middle of the field more than Fernando Mendoza did. So I would just encourage you to see how it goes. There was a lot of Packers fans that were pissed when they took Jordan Love. And I will tell you, that was the best decision that front office has made, probably in between the time when they took Jordan Love and they traded for Micah Parsons. Now, it's not saying that much because talking about some of the stuff Brian Gutekunst did in between there, but I'm just saying, if he develops in that system that's perfect for QB development, and if Sean McVay believes in him, I think that would be the other thing to say. Don't take my word for it. Take Sean McVay's word for it. That's a pretty big, strong endorsement about it. So Steelers pick is coming in.
This is someone I have not heard you talk about.
Ooh. You want to give a shot at that name, babe?
No, I do not.
Come on, let's hear it.
Oh.
Say it, say it, say it. Try.
I don't get paid enough for this.
Come on, one try.
Well, I already heard they said he can't.
Oh, you can't repeat it.
Hanacor?
No.
Yeah?
Well,
Max.
It's possible. Yeah, Max. There you go. You got it. It's possible I don't have it right, but I think it's Ihanachor is how I've been saying. But it could also be Ian Aker. I say Ihanachor. And if that's wrong, I apologize. I'll get it right eventually. But I think I love this, you guys. Really good fit in Pittsburgh, where they have some questions, obviously, on the left side of that offensive line, where Broderick Jones is probably on his way out, former first-round pick, unless he takes a big step. And at left guard, they have a complete question mark because I can't think of his name at the moment right now, but veteran that went somewhere else. I think Ihanachor could play guard, or maybe they try Braxton Jones at guard. Could also be another option. But just look at these clips, you guys. Max Ihanachor moves he moves better than some tight ends in this draft, and he's 320 pounds. He has absurd upside for a guy that I think this was his 4th year playing football. The feet are insane. He's got good strength. He gets after it. Went toe-to-toe with David Bailey in their matchup. And I really think Max Ihanachor has some of the highest upside of any player in this draft. Now, the but on him, because if all that was true and there was no but, he's a top 5 pick in the draft. His hands. There's a reason you see that clip with Mike Vrabel. He was getting handsy with two people this offseason, Diana Rossini and Maxi Hanachor. He was working on the hands at his pro day. He was like, this is what you got to get better at. And the Patriots are sad that they're not going to get him. But he misses with his hands. He only flashes examples of good techniques. And that's where most of his losses come from, is he'll come in wide, guys will attack his chest, he'll lose against power, and they got to get that cleaned up if he's going to be a good tackle. I think he's a much better version of what the Cowboys were swinging for in Tyler Guyton a few years ago. So I think it's a really fun landing spot, and I love that Pittsburgh is like keeps adding to this offensive line. So let's keep going through these super chats. If you can rationalize taking Dart round 1 last year with the grade you had on him, can you rationalize doing the same with Garrett Nussmeier? Would break the stream if it happened. I have Nussmeier a tick below where I had Dart, but not by much. It's like one slot. I think it's a 6'2" on Nuss and a 6'2" on Dart. It was already, for me, like, kind of fringe to justify Jackson Dart last year, first round last year.
Mesidor.
Hey, let's go. Akeem Mesidor to the Chargers. The best thing about this draft pick is he ain't a Chicago Bear. Let's go. 3 picks before the Bears are up. Love this for the Chargers, man. They needed an edge. Khalil Mack getting older. This was the pick we did with Brett Coleman and EJ Snyder, laughing about Akeem Mesidor being Khalil Mack's high school teammate. And we fooled Brett into thinking it was real for a second, because Mesidor is a 25-year-old rookie, but I've talked about this a lot. If he's ready to go, if he's a pro-made, day one quality starting edge player, which I think he is, and we can talk about some of those reasons why, there is surplus value for taking that guy in the first round, even if he's 25 years old, because I got a question for you guys. Did you see what our guy Will Anderson got paid? It's quarterback money, $50 million for a good edge rusher, for an elite edge rusher. A good edge rusher costs you what Odafe Owe cost the Commanders, $25 million. So you get someone that to me is very similar on tape to what, name recall, Whitney Merciless was for the Houston Texans as a really high-end number 2, a low-end 1, someone that wins with both speed and power and bend and plays the run. I love this pick for the Chargers. Mesidor was my 16th player in this draft.
Did it not update?
It just went on there. You're good. Thank you. And a ring the bell moment as well, because I have 100% been banging the drum that Akeem Mesidor is well worth a pick in this range, that he is, for me, the second best edge rusher in this draft. I think he's better than David Bailey. I do. I think Akeem Mesidor would have been a better, well, maybe not for the Jets, because they're not really in a position to take a 25-year-old edge rusher. But for the Chargers, who are trying to win right now, I'm a huge fan of this fit. All right. Let's keep getting caught up on your amazing super chats. Matt Long says, David Walker plus Ruben Bain pass rush duo. How can you be a Panthers fan in these conditions? Oh, it's true, dude. Maybe that's why they took Monroe Freeling. The Panthers were like, we didn't really want to take a tackle, but the freaking Bucs just got Ruben Bain, and we're going to die. So we need a tackle. Yeah, man. I am so excited to see David Walker come back. I hope he's healthy. What a fun duo. God, what an annoying duo to try to block. Those guys play with a similar style. They just get under your pads. That's a really fun point. I'm excited to talk about that in the deep dive, about David Walker and Ruben Bain coming at you low and hard. From Pie Times, can't thank you enough for educating and inducting me into this beautiful sport and community. Wish you and your wife the very best. Thank you. Very nice comment. Appreciate you. Anybody from TK says, anybody else surprised by the lack of trades? We've seen 3 trades. I would say that's probably around what I expected. Easton says, I hate the Jets. Could have had Reese or Bane. They almost could have had both if they just moved up a spot. Tall Relativity says Brett Coleman hated the Tate pick. He had him, I want to say, in the 12 to 18 range, which honestly, that's where I had him as well. So like, it's why it was a like it pick, but I just, there's something about Carnell Tate that's kind of hard to explain. I think some of you will relate to this, where it's like, I don't think he's a top 5 player in this draft, but I consistently think about taking him in the top 5 because it's just, he's that X wide receiver skill set. A lot of teams are looking for that. His hands are insane. He played at Ohio State. Like, you just feel so good about him being like T. Higgins. And in this draft where everybody's kind of got a but taking Carnell Tate kind of just feels good, and I can't really fault the Titans for it. So I could understand the thinking being like, yeah, it's too early for him, but I've made that pick myself. So Kyle says, always appreciate the detailed analysis. Appreciate that, Kyle. Another person asking who the Niners should take at 27. It's been a lot of interesting dialogue about it. And I think this is the third time I've answered that as a super chat. But yeah, I think at this point the tackles are flying off the board. The only tackle left, and I tried to say this was going to happen. I think I was like, these tackles are going to go, man. And I think they're all gone. Am I forgetting someone? Yeah, Proctor's gone, Ihanichor, Miller, Freeling. Yeah, they're all gone. All top 6 tackles are gone. So we might see Fano or Lomu might sneak into the first round at this point. Ooh, okay. So there goes Malachi Lawrence. First round. So this is early for me. I will be honest on that. I understand talking yourself into this, and it is going to be funny. I can already see Cowboys fans getting excited because of that last name. They had another Lawrence that played edge for them for about 10 years that was incredible. Very different player in Malachi Lawrence. This is like a C- pick for me. It's kind of like, fine, I've got questions. It is just early for me. I had Malachi Lawrence as a second round guy, as the 47th player on my big board. I wasn't quite on this late hype train for Malachi Lawrence. I think that he's super athletic, right? The combine was super impressive. He didn't go up against a lot of good tackles, and it's kind of similar to David Bailey. Like, he beat up on a lot of bad competition, a lot of bad quarterbacks that couldn't step up. But I do compare him to Odafe Owe. He's got a really nice cross chop. He's good with his hands. That athleticism will play. And he's not a bad run defender, but he's not the strongest guy in the world either. So he's a solid run defender. He's going to be a pretty good pass rusher. I think he's going to be a nice number 2 in the league. It's just, am I taking that with the 22nd or 21st, 22nd pick, whatever we're at? No, I'm not. The one thing I will say about Lawrence, and I'll give Theo Ash credit. I saw his tweet. I think it was either this morning or yesterday. That he saw the same thing I saw on tape, that there's moments with him where he's kind of like not as athletic in space as you want to expect. Like, there's like this extra hitch in his hips, and it shows up when he's trying to corner around guys sometimes. Like, obviously this is a highlight reel. It's not going to show up in any of these moments. But there's just times where you're like, I don't know that he looked that athletic. on that play. So I think he's a really good athlete. I don't know that he's a superhuman athlete, but I do think he's going to be a nice player. I think when we really break this thing down, I think we're going to see some other players that probably would have been better values. So Egg Noggin says, if I was a GM, Howie called me, I'm instantly hanging up. I don't even care. He can't keep getting away with it. Yeah, dude. You're so right. Baron, $100 super chat. Thank you so much, Baron. You get 2 sound bites. Wow, thank you. Super generous, Baron. Really appreciate you. Oh, yes, Baron had an account issue with Patreon. He was accidentally signed up with 2 emails on Patreon, and Baron's already been a very generous supporter. You did not need to come in with a $100 super chat, my friend, but we very much appreciate it. But would Kyle Lewis at 50 be the ideal replacement for Alex Anzalone? No, not from a style standpoint. Very different linebackers. Lewis is a undersized, like weak side, like space linebacker. Anzalone is more your traditional middle linebacker. So the beauty is you do have Jack Campbell and you have Derek Barnes. So if you wanted more just pure speed, athletic ability, base def, like I think he would fit in that linebacker room in Detroit. He just wouldn't be your Anzalone replacement. So I could see that, being a really nice spot for sure. Cody says he also found me because of the Blake Martinez video. As a fellow Packers fan who felt the same way, I was happy somebody validated my opinion. Yeah, I think a lot of Packers fans came my way with that video because he was such a frustrating watch. Yes. From UCA franchise, how he continues to get away with these drafts. He's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. I know, man. I'm speechless, dude. Like, I've been speechless when this crap has happened before, and it just keeps happening. It's so annoying. So annoying. Like, why did my Panthers not just take Mekhi Lemon? Why did the Vikings not just take Mekhi Lemon? And now the Eagles have him. Like, great job, guys. Thanks for the draft. This is from Jaeger Marchant. Thanks for the great draft content. I may be in the minority, but I love the Panthers pick. Need to do everything to ensure Bryce is the guy. So, yeah, I feel like with that pick for the Panthers, it's long-term sustainability. I like Rasheed Walker as a perfectly reasonable tackle. Ike Ekwonu should be coming back in a year. By the way, my guy Omar Cooper Jr. is still Concepcion to the Browns. Yeah, that just kind of felt like a Browns type of receiver. So, Yep. I'm like loosely critical of this. I don't understand how you look at that wide receiver room and say, and honestly, I don't know how you look at Shadour's skill set. Not that you're building around Shadour, but I just don't know how you look at that wide receiver room that has Jerry Jeudy and even Isaiah Bond, and they keep getting these tiny speed wide receivers. None of them seem to hit their potential. And Omar Cooper Jr. staring you in the face. I just don't know how you just go back down that road and take KC Concepcion. I think he's technically worth this pick, but over Omar Cooper Jr., who gives you dependability, gives you run after catch ability, I kind of just question that as a decision, especially when they've continued to fail with these types of wide receivers. Now, Concepcion's nice. I think Concepcion ended.
Oops, I put him as an edge.
You put him as an edge. That would be something. That's okay. We got smart viewers. They know Casey Concepcion's not playing edge any day, anytime soon at 170 pounds. But yeah, Concepcion finished on my big board 26th. So like, it's not like this is a reach. And I can't be like overly critical just because they didn't take Omar Cooper Jr. But I think it's particularly relevant when this has been their type that just hasn't really worked for them. But the dude gets open, man. He's a really nice route runner. He won me over with his releases. I was expecting to see this like go gadget, like rack threat that wasn't really a true vertical threat, and it's just not true. Like, honestly, at times I wanted to compare him to Rashid Shaheed, but he's more elusive than that. And he's probably a more nuanced route runner than that, but it was like the way he can track the deep ball and get off the line was really nice. So he could work out, but I just, like these they're going to an indoor stadium soon, so that could help. But they play all these bad weather games with these tiny wide receivers, and it's just like we need some meat in the wide receiver room. Like, we got enough guys that can run 4.3 here. We need a guy that'll do the dirty work. So I don't know. It's ultimately like a fine pick. I'm just not super confident in it. I just, you have 2 first-round picks, and you get Fano and Concepcion. It's like, all right, we did all right. I don't feel like the Browns like crushed this draft necessarily in the first round. I think they just did okay. All right, I think we're just about caught up on Super Chats. So Corey had a Super Chat. Thank you. Oh, yeah, Dylan Thieneman is still there. I can't believe the Vikings didn't take Dylan Thieneman. Wow. Like, okay, great example. Well, they already took Downs, but Cowboys could have just had Thieneman and Downs and just had like an unbelievable safety duo. Yeah. Jojers or Hoojers says, I'm already seeing Thieneman to the Bears. And that is Packers fan misery. I agree. If the Bears take Thieneman, that's going to be disappointing. And he's going to be really freaking good. So I didn't even think it was possible for them to get Thieneman, to be honest. I thought he would be long gone. Thieneman is the number 8 player on my board. One of the best, if not the best, free safety prospects I've ever watched. And it's a system that loves cover 1. And God, he would be so good there. So I really hope they take Keldrick Falk. I really hope they take Keldrick Falk.
You want to give that a motion?
Yes. So the Bears are on the clock. Let's give another shout out to my brother Adam.
Edwabio.
Always.
Water. Bear down.
Adam is always tuned in, big time for the draft. We think we're draft sickos. Wait till you see how Adam's glued to the TV all weekend for the draft. Love you, buddy. Hope you're having a good night. See you the next 2 days as well. Hope you got some good rolls in when you were bowling tonight before you came home. That's a great point. Cucumber points out that the Cowboys traded Lemon to the Eagles, passed on Mesidor, and took Lawrence. Amazing point, Cucumber. You will be... I don't know if I'll end up giving you the proper shout-out in the draft grades video tonight. Maybe I'll remember that it was Cucumber Lime with that chat. But, yeah, that's probably my second least favorite thing that a team has done tonight, other than the Jets taking Bailey number 2. Yeah, that's bad.
The Edelman.
The Edelman.
Yep.
I'm sad.
I'm happy.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, incredible steal for the Bears. My number 8 player in this draft goes number 25. One of the best free safety prospects I've ever watched for a team that needs a free safety. Sorry, I keep saying Casey Concepcion certified steal. Yeah, this dude's awesome. He gets to come back to the Midwest too because he played at Purdue. But 4.37 speed shows on tape. The range, the burst. He was so good that Oregon basically half the time just played cover 2 and made him the mid-read defender and played him around, middle of the field, about 10 yards up the field. And then they took their outside safeties and just spread them out to the hashes and just said, all right, Dylan, you're taking away everything over the middle of the field. You're going to play the run. You got the short to intermediate game. You got the deep part of the field. Have fun. And then they would put him at single high and he would ball out there. They could use him too high and he'd be great there. He is the ideal deep safety with speed, reads the quarterback's eyes, reads out route concepts. He's got what you call incredible eye balance. So you can tell just in the way that he kind of navigates towards throwing windows, you can tell that he is active with his eyes, looking at the quarterback, but also reading out route concepts. He doesn't allow big plays, but he stays close enough to the action to take stuff away. He's got ball skills. He'll come downhill and play the run. I think he gets miscast as a strong safety. That's not his skill set. He's like 6'3", 200. Like, he's a little bit thinner. If you're a 6'3" corner, you're usually about 200 pounds. So like if you asked him to play around the box a ton, like, he'll come down and hit you, but he doesn't get off blocks great. And like, sometimes when he tackles like bigger backs, you'll see him like miss some tackles because his strike power isn't that great. But playing him deep, man, and it's not like he is anything close to a bad run defender. It's just like he gets miscast as this like strong safety, and that's just not his game. Yeah, man, he's sick. So on the plus side for Packers fans, the Bears still can't rush the passer, which is great. But yeah, it's a hell of a pick. All right. Ben says, congrats on the kiddo. Next time you're in Tampa, beers on me. I'm kind of scared to go to Tampa now that Ruben Bain's there. That wasn't even a driving reference. I'm just saying that he's an incredible football player, and as a Panthers fan, I'm scared of him. But who do you think is the best option for the Texans, who are about to make a pick here? Any of the top O-line feel good at this point? The only lineman I would think about taking for them right now would be Emmanuel Pregnon. Lomu wouldn't be a horrible pick. To me, Lomo's, let's draft him and stash him and see where it goes. Not that Lomo's a bad player, but I think Lomu would... There's a reason Lomu he's been the 7th tackle, presumably he will be the 7th tackle. And there's a reason that the tackle stopped going, I think. Like, Lomu is more of a... If he had to play right now, he'd probably collect his losses. So the Texans actually traded up here, correct?
Yes. So the Texans got pick 26 and 91. The Bills got 28, 69, and 167.
Okay, so the Bills got back into the second round. after they traded for DJ Moore. I like that for the Bills. And the Bills are always a team that I have a hard time picking for. So I'm curious. I wouldn't be surprised if this is Peter Woods. Rutledge. Wow. He actually went round 1. Okay. That's a little surprising. There was some noise that this might happen. I can't get there with Rutledge. I had him as a mid to late second rounder. I mean, he's a fun player to watch on the O-line. I mean, I think they signed Wyatt Teller in Houston, right? And that's a great guy for Rutledge to learn from. He plays exactly like Wyatt Teller. I think he probably wears the same number because of him. I don't do pro comps for linemen, but sometimes they click. And super athletic. He's got that mean streak as a run blocker. He's just crazy wide. Now, he's a leaner, and while he's an explosive north and south athlete, he's got these thinner lower, thinner calves. He doesn't have a ton of power from the very bottom part of his legs. He's a little bit clunky, a little bit unbalanced at times. I worry that like NFL athletes are going to be able to dance around him a little bit more. Similar to, Wyatt Teller has had some of those issues. Wyatt Teller had a couple of years where like he was just such a good run blocker that we never talked about the fact that he wasn't that good as a pass blocker, and he made Pro Bowls for a couple straight years. So that's like the best case scenario. But okay, I'm just a little surprised. I think it's early. I've got questions. I like them going offensive line, and there wasn't really like an obvious choice. I think Emmanuel Pregnon is just a better football player than Rutledge. We'll see how that ages. Rutledge is a little bit younger. Pregnon's a 6-year player. But we'll see how this one goes. So we got super chat from Crack Jackson. ESPN on mute, TFG full blast. Let's go, baby. Who needs ESPN when you got TFG? Corey says, messed up the first one, but what do you think of the Chiefs' process? I think they could have gotten Delane at 9 and then gotten in on Lemon or Mesidor in a trade up. Yeah, they might have been able to get Delane at 9. I would assume they were worried that the Saints were going to take him because he's close to home. They could use a corner like that. I would assume that's what they felt. Or the Browns were shopping the pick, right? So, like, Delane was very highly thought of in NFL circles. And sometimes you got to just trade up so another team doesn't do it, because the Browns were getting out of that spot. So whoever came up, could have taken it. So I don't hate it. It's not like they gave up that much. From Crisp, just says bear down. Yeah, dude, the Thieneman pick. I didn't even think of that as a possibility. I was like, please no Mesidor, please no Zion Young. Otherwise, you guys can have whoever you want. I didn't realize the number 8 player in the draft was going to fall to number 25. That's just annoying. But good for you guys. I can at least breathe. Like, I'd still, because I'm so D-line oriented in how I think of teams, you guys probably rather get Thieneman than Mesidor. Just like, I think I'm that high on what Mesidor is going to be that I think the Bears are a better team. If they're trying to go for it this year, they're a better team with Mesidor than they are with Thieneman because of the position. But that doesn't mean it wasn't an incredible pick if you couldn't get Mesidor. Captain Chaos, $50 super chat. Thank you. you get the John Cena. Howie does it again, fleecing the Cowboys in the process. Cherry on top. 5th year in a row with the TFG family. That's right, Captain Chaos. We love you. Do you think it's a sure thing that AJ's gone? I do. I think that is set in stone. It sounds like the Patriots are in on it. So I think that's probably a lock. All right, we got some more super chats. Yeah, Freeling to the Panthers is like cool, but man, Cooper and Dylan Thieneman would have been fun. And Mekhi Lemon. There was so many better options, I think. And just roll the dice that Rasheed Walker's going to be good. I would be so much more excited as a Panthers fan with those 3 picks. Tall Relativity says, watching Wolves Nuggets on another tab and defense for Mini, just 11 points for Denver in the first quarter. Let's go. Yeah, give me Wolves updates because I'm going to be throwing that on. Hopefully we can catch the end of it. Chris Johnson just went to the Miami Dolphins. That's a good pick.
What's his position?
Cornerback. Yeah, Chris Johnson, especially with Jermod McCoy's, I will say that, like, if you're the Dolphins, I kind of would have liked just taking Jermod McCoy, to be honest, because you're trying to suck this year anyway, and he's not going to play, but then you just get Christian Barmore, who gives you fits in that division. But if you don't want to go that route and you want someone that's actually going to play for you, which is understandable, Chris Johnson's a really good player. I think he ended up, did he crack the top 30 for me? 35. So he got close. So it's not like it's a reach or anything. Perfect scheme fit. Off zone. Like, this is 100%. And I actually had this conversation in one of my mock drafts. I think it was with Brett and EJ. We were debating between Chris Johnson and Colton Hood, and I'll ring my bell on that one. They wanted Colton Hood, and I said I think Chris Johnson would be more their type, scheme fit wise. And I agree. I think Colton Hood had a lot of questions in zone, which they're going to be a zone heavy team. That's just the system that Jeff Hafley has really come up through, is that kind of off zone Sala tree. And yeah, dude, he sees things so well. He can go man to man. He just wasn't asked to do it as much. I'm going to say I like it. I think it's a position of value. It's a good player. It's not some insane steal or crazy fit or anything, but I think he's going to be probably a CB1 in the right system. Really, the main questions on him is just like level of comp. Like, he didn't really go up against anybody, but I think he gave up like 15 receptions all year in an off zone. Can I just check my notes real quick, babe? Did we get a pick? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, you can do your thing. Let me just close the highlights. Yeah, he just like I don't know what the exact number was, but it was basically no receptions all year, and there goes Lomu. So I mean, I guess I'll ring the bell like very quietly. Like, I was every single mock draft just like screaming from the rooftops, like, we got to do whatever it takes to get one of these tackles. Ideally, it would have been one of the top 6 tackles, but Lomu does uniquely make sense for New England because they don't need. Here's the thing: you don't need a tackle right now. You think Morgan Moses is there probably for another year, but what you don't want is Morgan Moses gets hurt, or Morgan Moses retires after this year. And Morgan Moses, by the way, was cheaper because he's been banged up at times in his career. And he's 35, 36 years old. Like, you had to get the tackle plan in motion, and franchise tackles don't grow on trees. They don't make Caleb Lomus. Like, 6'6", 4.99 speed, has the range, good. Like, there's a lot of boxes checked with him. It's just everything's pretty inconsistent on his tape, and he's got to hit the weight room. He's got to fill out that frame. But he absolutely has the potential to turn into your franchise right tackle. And I think trading up to secure this when there was going to be other teams on the hunt, they did trade up, I think. Or I'm losing sight of what. Yeah, they moved up a little bit, a few picks. So they probably gave up like a 4th-round pick. But I think the aggressiveness to make this happen is definitely necessary. And anytime I thought about a draft for the Patriots where they don't walk out with a tackle, it's kind of a scary thought. Because it's a deep tackle class. They're not always this deep. And you've got a franchise quarterback to protect, right? That happened to show you in the playoffs this year that when the protection isn't as good as you want, he's kind of got some Justin Herbert to him in the sense that, like, if he's got a weakness, it's pocket presence. And when the pass rush is getting in, it's like exponential in terms of how much worse he looks, if that makes sense. Like, some quarterbacks, I think, are better. It's not controversial to say. Some quarterbacks have better pocket presence and handle pressure better than others. I would say, so far, Drake May hasn't shown you that he can be great without, the right protection there. So taking care of that is absolutely good logic for the Patriots. He's just got to develop. He's not a can't-miss prospect, but they got time to work with him because he doesn't have to start right away. All right, from Hossie, love the content since 2020. We got a lot of OGs in the Super Chats here, so thank you, Hossie. And I just thank you guys so much. We had over 2,000 consistently throughout the night here on YouTube, including Twitter. We're up to like 5K, which is awesome. But I know you guys have a lot of options for watching the draft stream, so it's flattering. I am so thankful that you guys are choosing my stream over other options, and I hope you do the same the next 2 nights because we're just getting started, man. Night 2 is my favorite, honestly, of all the nights. So I hope you guys come back for night 2. But from Jansen Yee, first time super chatter, first time, long time. You started my obsession with the draft last year. What should the Hawks do at 32 if no trade down? Price, Chris Johnson. So Chris Johnson's gone. I know Chris Johnson was a big target for Seahawks fans. He gone. Jermon McCoy could be in play for Seattle. Really could. I mean, you could just punt your first round pick into next year and get excited about it. One of the best players in the draft. But yeah, Jadarian Price, trade down and then take Jadarian Price would be, I think, the ideal situation for Seattle. Okay. Dream scenario for the Colts, Jacob Rodriguez. Yes. 3,000 times yes. Jacob Rodriguez, my comparison is Darius Leonard. You get a guy like that. Yeah, absolutely. Warhammer says, Hawks fan, board falling nice. Rams lighting picks on fire. Careful what you wish for. I mean, if Sean McVay just got another 15 years of a franchise quarterback, I don't know that I would be celebrating that as quickly as you are, my friend. If we draft Avion Terrell, this night is perfect. Avion Terrell would be fun. I think he would fit them really well. There's a lot of moments when you watch Avion Terrell and he reminds you of Devin Witherspoon. He's just not quite as good. And then Keegan says, Wolves are going crazy. 61-39 at half. Let's go, baby. Let's go, Wolves. Getting healthy at the right time. Minnesota Timberwolves. I like the chip on their shoulder they were playing with last week. Rufus says, so I get how good Lemon is, and we know A.J. Brown is gone, but does this mean Wicks is a mid-tier wide receiver? I never watched the Packers. Yeah, Wicks is not like a wide receiver 2 type. He never was acquired to be that guy. He was never acquired to be their wide receiver 2. He's a very physical, like low-end starting caliber guy. Inconsistent hands, but good route runner for a physical wide receiver. But I said it the second the Eagles got him. Like, there's another move coming. It's not like Howie Roseman's not going to go into this season with Wicks as your number 2. He's a nice player. You'll be happy to have him if Jalen Hurts ever looks at him. Jalen Hurts isn't known for throwing to his number 3. Peter Woods to the Chiefs. Okay. It's about the range I had Peter Woods. I think I like it. Peter Woods he is probably the player in this draft I struggle with the most. It's just such a roller coaster when you think about Peter Woods. The production was really bad. He had like 14 pressures in his last year, which is like nothing. And then his whole pre-draft process was bad. Like he was lighter than we thought. His arms were shorter than we thought. He didn't really work out. He didn't go to any of the events. And it's just like everything was coming up negative with Peter Woods, who heading into the year was a top 5 mocked player. But I don't hate the tape. Like I don't think he's a bad football player. And there's a lot of times when I watch him and he just reminds me a ton of Mason Graham last year, where he dances around blocks. He's like hyper athletic. Like I get that he didn't test, but I have no questions that this guy's a phenomenal athlete. Like you can see it. People forget to just look at the tape when you're looking for athleticism. Like I'm showing it to you right here. Like if you think this guy's not a great athlete, with all due respect, I don't know if you know what you're looking at. Like this dude can freaking move for a D tackle, but there's issues, right? Like he's a little bit lighter. His play strength like feels inconsistent. Like there's times where he anchors well, and there's times where the power shows, and then there's times where like his arms don't deliver a big blow, or he can give up a lot of ground against the run. The real question for me on Peter Woods comes down to the crazy stat that we found on Twitter within our amazing TFG community. And I apologize to the account that I gave credit to in our D tackle video, but that looked it up for us. The opposing quarterback for Peter Woods had a significantly lower time to throw in every Clemson game. And that stemmed from a tweet I had where I was like, I don't really have the numbers to back this up, but watching Clemson, it feels like every opponent is going into the game and just like saying, we're not going to give these guys a chance. Like every third down is going to be a screen or a draw or a check down. And like, there just weren't real pass rushing opportunities for Peter Woods. But if you went through enough games, you could see him pulling off a bunch of different moves. There goes Omar Cooper to the Jets, by the way. Hell yes. Great pick for the Jets. But, and was that
So they traded up.
So did whoever traded with the Patriots traded twice?
Well, it was supposed to be the Niners.
Yeah, so the Niners did the rare double trade down.
Yep.
Interesting.
So they got a 5th pick out of it. 5th round pick.
I mean, I hate that for the Niners.
And they traded down to 33.
Yeah, I hate that for the Niners. Like, I don't get why the Niners didn't want Omar Cooper Jr. But, hey, there we go, Jets. There we go. We're back. We're back, Jets. I can't remember what they did at 16. I already forgot. They took Sadiq. They took Sadiq. Yeah, so we got some freaking pass catchers. Dude, the Jets' infrastructure now with an O-line, Garrett Wilson, Omar Cooper Jr., Kenyon Sadiq, Mason Taylor, whatever quarterback gets to go here next year, as long as the Jets don't jet this thing up, that's an incredible infrastructure for a future QB, or maybe for Garrett Nussmeier as like one of these picks. But you guys know I love Omar Cooper Jr. He was like my guy in this draft, one of the first guys I was banging the drum for. My number 2 wide receiver in this draft. I don't get what this guy doesn't do. I don't get why he's not a top 15 pick. He's got good speed. He's awesome after the catch. He runs good routes. He catches everything. He catches balls through traffic. He's not the biggest guy. His usage was not that of a typical like number 1 wide receiver. It was a lot of underneath stuff. But it's not like he never ran real routes or did real wide receiver things. Here you're going to see him catching a back shoulder and making 3 defenders miss and bailing out Fernando Mendoza for a ridiculous touchdown against Purdue, which is one of several of my favorite WTF plays that he made this year. Dude, him and Sadiq is going to be awesome. So as much as I hate the David Bailey pick, the Jets are still making up a lot of value with this Omar Cooper Jr. pick. Yeah, wow. Teddy wants to be on the stream for the end of round 1 here. So,
yeah, so that pick went from the Broncos to the Dolphins to the Niners to the Jets.
Come here, Teddy. Come here. Maybe he doesn't want to come. Come here, Teddy. Come here. If I give you a tiny piece of Cheeto. Here. I'll give you a Cheeto later. We got to finish our stream. The people have missed you.
Oh, okay, so Tennessee just traded up.
Whoa. Things are getting weird. So Tennessee just traded up. Got a couple of super chats that just came in. So Perp Cal says, Marcus, you always have my respect because you're the only analyst I saw from last year who called out the Mike Green stuff properly. Thank you. Proud of how I handled and analyzed that. Patrick, UK fan, still hanging in there. Shout out. I mean, it is 4 in the morning. It ain't daytime, I'll tell you that. Delighted with the Venga pick for my Ravens. Would love to hear who you think might be a good pickup with our 2nd round pick. So Derek Moore always comes to my mind for the Ravens. You've got that Jesse Minter, Michigan connection. Literally played in that system. Not that it matters that much at edge, but Derek Moore for me is a sneaky 2nd round edge. Reminds me a lot of Derek Hall, really good bull rusher, and I think he'd be a really good target. Also, it'll be interesting to see if TJ Parker goes, because that could be a draft win for me if TJ Parker falls out of the 1st round. I got a lot of criticism for saying I don't think TJ Parker's a 1st round player. Keldrick Falk as well is still out there. I wouldn't be stunned if I was going to say Keldrick Falk is very much a Robert Saleh type. So they definitely look at him, and they just signed John Franklin Myers, and they see that type of player. And I will say this on Keldrick Falk. The one spot, I got to get the certified steal off the screen because I don't think it's that, but I do like it at this point. I mean, Keldrick Falk got a lot of criticism in this draft process. I was a part of it. I've been consistent on this, that where I like Keldrick Falk, where he can succeed, and it's not like he's nowhere to be found. He's 37th on my big board, so him going 31 is totally fine. I've always said, in order for him to succeed, it's not trying to be Trayvon Walker and be this full-time edge. It has to be, to me, a wide 9 system. So Robert Saleh, D'Amico Ryans, the Niners, where on early downs he's playing a 5-tech, 7-tech, heavy-handed edge role. Sometimes a wide 9, but largely he's going to be the kind of the original Michael Bennett role is kind of where that lineage comes from. But the way that the Niners used to use Eric Armstead, for example, that's Keldrick Falk's projection. And then when it's passing downs, he moves inside because he's a power to speed player. He's not a speed to power player. And that is typically what you say about an interior rusher as opposed to a perimeter player. So I actually thought for most teams, Keldrick Falk got bad advice. I'm just seeing, I don't think I have the highlights on him because I don't think I could get him cleared. But for most teams, I thought he would have been better off bulking up to like 295 and maybe being more like DeForest Buckner. But he lost weight and got down to like 275 and committed to being an edge rusher. So in this type of system, being like a Danico Autry, a John Franklin Myers, he's a fit. And I don't hate getting the 5th-year option on a guy like this that maybe you get to the end of his contract and you're like, I don't know if we want to give him what he might demand, but you get 5 years out of him. We're looking way too far ahead. I mean, they very well could be a long-term player for them, but I see it. I see why he makes sense. And they needed some help on the D-line, and he was one of the better D linemen around. So I don't hate it. This is a Keldrick Falk landing spot that I don't hate. And I think they'll know how to use him for what he does. Like, a reason I was saying I hope the Bears get him, because what they do is they would take Keldrick Falk and just play him as a 5-tech the whole game. And he would never get after the quarterback. He can get after the quarterback with a swim move and a shock and go move as a 3-tech, as a 4-eye. And now we have the last pick of the draft coming up for the Seahawks. I'm very curious to see which route they go. If we were to look at my big board, best players available, Denzel Boston, Jacob Rodriguez, Christian Miller. My Christian Miller to the Packers dream is alive, by the way. I would be electric. Zion Young, Cassius Howell, Jermod McCoy, Jeremy Bernard. So, some good players dropping into day 2, as it always happens. Also, I totally just blocked Teddy's face with the big board. Oh, what do you think?
Also put him to sleep with your Falk analysis. So
Did I? Falk was too boring. We need we definitely got to get the Teddy cam going tomorrow. I'll get this sucker. I'll get this thing working. I don't know, it didn't want to turn on when I plugged it in, and then it was 6:44 and I had to go live. So your bandana has turned into a cape, Teddy. Super Teddy. I'm even holding him like Superman flying. He holds his arms out.
He probably wants his bandage taken off. We can do that later, Ted. He's like, here, take it off.
Here, it's right here. Take this stupid bandage off.
I'll do it after.
Okay. All right. JB has a super chat. Remember when I found you for the first time when I built the Jets on Madden 18 after drafting Darnold? Wow, what a throwback. Been an avid watcher since. Shout out. That's an OG right there. JB, good to see you. And then Tall Relativity says, man, I'm so pissed the Niners did what they did. Just stay there and take Cooper Jr. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I don't agree with what they did. Teddy was getting hot because my hands are sweaty. It's hot in this room. And he also wanted the Cheeto that I left on the ground for him. All right, the final pick will be coming in here. A lot of people shouting out the old Madden videos. I really do want to do a rebuild, you guys. I do, I promise. I think the most realistic would be to do our stream rebuilds and put it on, just upload those on TFG Plays. But we'll see. We got a little kiddo on the way, so we'll see how much time I have on my hands for that. Who do we have out here helping announce the Seahawks pick? Is this like a fan of the year or?
Make-A-Wish.
Gotcha.
How do we get Adam to be able to make a pick for Chicago?
Yeah. Seriously. Maybe they got to win the Super Bowl first. I don't know.
We'd have to work on his pronunciation.
All right, Seattle, let's see what you got. There was a lot of talk about maybe going Jadarian Price and just taking care of the running back.
Jadarian Price.
There it is. All right. Yeah, I get it, man. Especially after they had to let Kenneth Walker go without. I mean, you get the 5th-year option on him, which might have been the deciding factor for them. Instead of moving down 5 picks, they might have said, let's just get that 5th-year option on a running back, which is like, I think that's the best position to get it on if you're debating, like, if you're especially a team that was like, we didn't want to pay oh my God, Super Bowl MVP Walker. If you're like, we don't want to pay running backs at all, get that 5th-year option. It's like a free franchise tag that they can't really complain about. So I get it. I mean, Jadarian Price was the number 44 player on my big board, so it's a little bit early. However, this is a uniquely atrocious running back class. It is an embarrassing running back class. I don't know where all the running backs went, but they weren't in this draft class. And if you didn't get Jadarian Price, I like Emmett Johnson. He's not as explosive as Jadarian Price. And then there's nobody else after that. So this just helps you knock out a huge need. I will say, man, I was really critical of this team for not just paying Walker. They have all the money to do it. I felt like this was a unique situation where it would have made a ton of sense to just do that. And then he could have used this first-round pick on, like, elite talent. You know, you could have had Jermod McCoy here and done something insane. But because you didn't pay Walker in a year where there's no other running backs to get, you kind of back yourself in a corner to the point that you make this pick. Now, Price is a really good player. And, you know, to me, he's like a faster Kyron Williams, which is a really good player. Excellent vision. Doesn't break a ton of tackles, but he's got that thing where he kind of weaves around tackles and ends up getting like 4 extra yards because he just understands angles. Like that play right there is a great example. So I like him. I think he's a really good runner. Very high floor player. Hard to hate the pick in this running back class. I just think you can come back to them not paying Kenneth Walker and having some legitimate criticisms of how they handled the whole thing. So we did it. A 3-hour, 20-minute draft. This is like, what is going on? These things usually take 4 or 5 hours to get through the first round. So I like the sped up clock. I feel like we got a long weekend ahead of us. So we got a couple super chats on the way out. Save some for tomorrow, you guys. But from Torrey Horton fan, 2018 John Schneider moment. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jadarian Price is going to be a good player. Canadian that games. After the recent scare, let Teddy have an extra treat. He will absolutely be getting plenty of treats. From Moses, Steelers fans on Twitter are overwhelmingly down on our pick, and I don't understand it. There's so many more second-round wide receivers than there are day 2 tackles. Yeah, it's a great... I love that pick for Pittsburgh. Love that pick. From Alto, I think Diego Pavia would be a good fit for backup QB in Green Bay. He's smart enough to come in and even play as a rookie. Thoughts? I think a lot of quarterbacks could have success as a backup with Matt LaFleur calling plays for him. I thought Pavia with like Mike McDaniel in an RPO-focused offense would make sense. I don't really see the Packers liking Diego Pavia. I mean, the Packers expect more full-field ability than a guy like Pavia, but he's interesting. I think he's some kind of screwed up combination of Tua and Baker Mayfield. Like, if those two guys had a kid, like, that would be Diego Pavia. But, yeah, he's fascinating. I watched him earlier this week. From just the last thing here, before we wrap things up, Elite Clone gifted a TFG membership. So thank you for doing that. All right, you guys, I'm going to get to work on doing this all over again and coming up with the final grades for the first round. I'm going to drop that as soon as possible, even if it's in the middle of the night. So if you're staying up, you'll find that. And then I can't wait to sleep in and see you guys again tomorrow. So Hope you guys consider coming back tomorrow night. I hope you had a great stream. This went out without a hitch, man. No complaints. You guys were so generous with the super chats as you always blow me away there. So thank you again. Love you guys. Talk soon.